Welcome to Chinese Novel Audiobook. Chapter 21. The Three Kingdoms return to Qian, and the Yin-Yang sect comes. As time passed, the battle situation in Liang State became clearer, with half of the territory already controlled by the two armies of Qian army. The presence of Huo Qubing's 2,000 elite soldiers who appeared and disappeared like ghosts frightened the nobles and royal family members in the capital of Liang State, so much so that they rarely left their homes even during the day. The princes and nobles of the two countries of Fengyu were also escorted back to Kyoto one after another. Great Qian's officials were all busy. The 6 ministries of the cabinet were brightly lit all night long, as there were mountains of work to do, such as the governance of the two countries and the logistics and aftermath of the troops on the front line. Moreover, the re-screening of officials from the 3 countries is a big problem. We need to cultivate some talents. Great Qian obviously does not have enough officials. It is very obvious now and it will be even more of a problem in the future. Li Yun in the Imperial Palace took the entire Qiandu into consideration. Sign in. Another sign in day. Ding. Signing in. Ding. Congratulations to the host, you have signed into the only technique, the Imperial Scripture, which comes with the level-less divine ability, the divine skill, the sky-trapping finger, the infinite step, the 8 styles of the Imperial sword, and the Imperial armor technique. Oh no. It's a huge explosion. He actually signed out a technique and 5 divine abilities, 3 attacks, 1 defense, and 1 soul. Li Yunzheng lacks a method to practice martial arts. His cultivation level was pushed up by the system. Moreover, Great Qian's skills were too low, and he looked down on them. The level of the divine ability is the same as the previous weapon level. Dao level techniques can only be practiced up to Dao level. If you want to go higher, you have to change techniques. His unique skill is extremely powerful. It is the only skill practiced by him in all the myriad worlds. It has no upper limit, just like his levelless divine ability. The stronger he is, the stronger his divine ability becomes. As soon as the sign-in was completed, the memories of the Emperor's scripture and the 5 divine abilities suddenly appeared in Li Yun's mind. He tried to practice for a while, and the spirit chi of the entire Qiandu instantly gathered towards the Imperial Palace, but ordinary people could not see it. In just a short moment, Li Yun felt that his strength had improved a lot. However, the spirit chi in the land of 100 nations was still very thin, and with this blow from him just now, half of Qiandu's spirit chi had been sucked away. He stopped quickly. At the same time, the battle in Liang State was also coming to an end. Chen Chenji's 200,000 troops successfully joined forces with Li Tianba's 300,000 troops and advanced forward as quickly as a bulldozer. The capital of Liang was in chaos. Some wealthy businessmen had already anticipated the outcome of the war, so they packed up their properties, abandoned the city, and headed north towards Qing. Qing Kingdom is one of the top 3 kingdoms in the entire land of hundreds of kingdoms, but because there is a big snow-capped mountain between Liang Kingdom and Qing Kingdom, there is little communication between the two countries. But at this moment, the people of Liangcheng no longer cared about much. Among the rumors in Daliang, Great Qian's troops killed anyone they saw, destroyed villages and cities, and spared no half-grown children or infants. In fact, these rumors were spread by the Lianggu royal family with the intention of stirring up public anger. After all, the army of the underdog will surely win. However, they created the opposite result. At this moment, many of the princes and nobles in Liangdu had surrendered, arguing endlessly with the martyrdom faction in the court, and gradually gained the upper hand. It was not until hundreds of thousands of troops were at the gates of the city that the 7th Prince Tuobahu and the king of Yizabingxiang Tuobahai entered the city to persuade them to surrender, which completely broke the last straw in the hearts of the martyrs faction. Welcome the Northern Expedition Army into the city. At the gate of Liang State, a soldier named Haoran shouted loudly. In front of them, all the royal family members of Liang Kingdom and the princes and ministers were kneeling at the city gate, clasping their heads to the ground. In front of them were the heads of several martyrs. The moment King Liang decided to surrender, they committed suicide one by one and died for their country. Chen Qingzi and Li Tianba took the lead and stepped through the gate of Liangdu, announcing the complete destruction of the 3 kingdoms. However, Huo Qubing and others who were deeply rooted in Liang State were nowhere to be seen. There is a big snowy mountain in the north of Liang State. After crossing this mountain, there is a new kingdom. At this moment, Huo Qubing and his 2,000 men had conquered the mountain and stood at the highest point, overlooking the kingdom of Qing. The Qing kingdom has a great reputation among the hundreds of nations. There are 3 top dynasties in the land of hundreds of countries: Yan, Yu, and Qing. According to Du Gufeng, these 3 countries were supported by the Yin-Yang sect. Overlooking the land of hundreds of countries in 3 directions. There may be a virtual realm in the 3 kingdoms. Huo Qubing and others were ordered to go to Qing first to investigate. Great Qian's next target is the Qing Kingdom. After taking down Qing Kingdom, the eastern part of the 100 kingdoms would be firmly under the control of Great Qian. The entrance to the eastern wilderness and the land of 100 kingdoms is at the easternmost end, where the god of death Bai Qi is stationed to block the people from Yin-Yang sect. Only by controlling this entrance can Great Qian revel in the land of hundreds of countries without restraint. Brothers, a new mission. Do you see that new and rich country ahead? Huo Qubing pointed forward. No one spoke, but their eyes showed a strong desire to fight. Huo Qubing smiled slightly. This group of soldiers has been thoroughly trained. To put it bluntly, after less than 10 days of fighting, these 2,000 soldiers are worth tens of thousands of elite soldiers. At this moment, the 2,000 people are at least at the innate 9th layer realm, and the strongest one has broken through to Dao Palace 7 stars, which is more than 5 small realms higher than when he just entered Liang country. 2,000 people united together can fight Law Manifestation 9th grade. Li Linfu's second disciple Shang Ling could only passively take the beating even when facing this group of Law Manifestation realms. Everyone, follow the method I taught you to restrain your murderous aura, then break it down into small pieces and join the celebration. Within half a month, my emperor will surely send troops to Qing state. Then will be the time for you to make achievements. At that time, I will recommend merits for you. Those who die in battle will be compensated tenfold, and your merits will be passed on to your descendants. Those who survive will have unlimited positions. Huo Qubing said loudly. General, we don't need high positions or generous salaries. We just want to be your personal soldiers. Get lost, you idiot. Your hair hasn't even grown out yet. Do you know how to be a personal soldier? General, I've been a personal soldier for General Ba before. Let me do it. General, I'll come and warm the bed. General, I have a daughter who is not married yet. FK. Lao Zhong, you still want to take advantage of the general. Do you know how many people in my Great Qian covet our general? A group of men were arguing loudly, but Huo Qubing was not angry. He just looked into the distance. Of the 3,000 people who went to Liang, only more than 2,300 were left, and more than 700 were buried in foreign lands, and their bodies were not even collected in time. In this time, no one knows how many people will be able to return. The crowd gradually dispersed and went down the mountain towards Qing state, joining the fleeing Liang state army. Only Shang Ling and Huo Qubing, both with grim faces, were left. Shang Ling, how long have you been in Law Manifestation 9th grade? Huo Qubing suddenly asked. Shang Ling said respectfully, General, it has been more than 3 years. Huo Qubing glanced at Shang Ling carefully. Yes, you have excellent talent. If you were born in the eastern wilderness, you would have already entered the Void Realm. If there is a chance this time, I will help you enter the Void Realm. Thank you, General. Shang Ling looked delighted. He is an orphan who was adopted by Li Linfu and has grown up step by step to this day. He had only 2 goals in life. One is to repay his father-like teacher Li Linfu, and the other is to become stronger. But when he reached the Law Manifestation 9th grade, he reached a bottleneck. No matter how hard he practiced, he could not break through this bottleneck. Let's go. Let's go meet the masters of Qing Nation. When Huo Qubing and the other man were going down the mountain, a group of people walked out of a canyon far in the east. 8 people carried the sedan chair, in which sat a young man dressed in brocade and jade, holding a folding fan, and with maids feeding him. He looked extremely happy. If you look closely, you will find that the people carrying the sedan chair are all at the Law Manifestation 9th grade level, and even several of the maids are at the Law Manifestation realm. Sir, someone is blocking the road. The sedan suddenly stopped. Chu Tiankuo raised his eyes slightly. In this small land of 100 countries, there are actually people who dare to block the way of Master Chu of Yinyang sect. They are simply fed up with living. Behead him. Chu Tiankuo closed his eyes again without even looking carefully. There is a big ban in the land of 100 kingdoms. Except for the 3 kingdoms with the virtual realm supported by their Yin-Yang sect, there are no other virtual realms. His few servants in the Law Manifestation 9th grade realm are enough to deal with all crises. Why don't you do anything yet? After waiting for a while, Chu Tiankuo became a little impatient and opened his eyes and said. But a shocking scene appeared before his eyes. The 8 Law Manifestation 9th grade slaves were still standing there, their eyes full of fear, their bodies motionless, without a trace of life, and a murderous aura enveloped the world. The murderous aura alone was enough to overwhelm these 8 Law Manifestation 9th grade slaves to death. You, who are you? Chu Tiankuo pointed at the figure holding a spear in front of him with trembling hands. You don't deserve to know my name. A voice came. The voice was filled with murderous intent, making Chu Tiankuo's entire body go cold. Damn, what's going on? How could such an existence appear in the land of 100 countries? Even his father, the chief elder of Yin-Yang sect and a strong man of empty void late stage, is just like that. Could it be that this person is stronger than his father? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Senior, I am here on the orders of Yin-Yang sect to look for the defected saintess. I have no intention of offending you. The law enforcement elder of our sect will be here shortly, accompanied by 2 assessment elders. I hope you will give me some convenience. Chu Tiankuo spoke humbly, with a hint of threat. However, Bai Qi didn't respond at all. He just thrust his halberd forward, and the hairs of the Chu army stood up. After a moment, he opened his eyes and breathed a sigh of relief. He was not dead yet, but he could not use any spirit qi in his body. Then, with a wave of Bai Qi, he was thrown aside. When you elders arrive, I will send you to Qiandu for trial. Bai Qi's cold voice made Chu Tiankuo tremble all over. A member of the intelligence department dressed in black came out, took out dozens of rats from the storage ring, and then killed them one by one. The news was sent back to Qiandu. Chapter 22, Void Trade Fair, Capturing the Yin-Yang Sect Elder. In the Imperial Palace, Li Yun looked at the news coming from Bai Qi and immediately summoned Ji Yuan. Ji Yuan, who had been tracking the missing princess, had already returned to Qiandu to apologize. He later entered the Shiwen Mountains and searched for a while, and found the dense forest. The bloody smell of several monsters was still clearly visible. But the sixth princess is nowhere to be found. However, Ji Yuan discovered that there seemed to be fluctuations in space and found the secret realm node. And brought all the news back. Li Yun did not blame him. As long as the sixth princess doesn't do anything that endangers Great Qian, it won't be a big deal. At the same time, I became interested in the secret realm. He had seen the legend of the secret realm in ancient books, but the secret realm had not appeared in the entire land of the 100 Kingdoms for thousands of years. Only when the spirit qi is sufficient, the secret realm will gradually appear. It seems that the spirit qi really needs to be revived. He has arranged for the Marquis of Weiyang to send people to guard the place, and if there are any unusual movements, they will act accordingly. Ji Yuan, you go to this place in person. General Bai Qi is guarding here. Bring back a few people. Li Yun gave Ji Yuan the location of Bai Qi and said. Yes, Your Majesty. Ji Yuan received the order and immediately stood up and went there. Li Yun rubbed his brows. There are not enough people. There are still too few strong ones. Now Great Qian has 4 people in the void refining realm, about 30 people in the law manifestation realm, and only a few people in the 9th grade. They all have their own tasks. We have to mass produce some strong people as soon as possible. System, sign in. Ding. Signing in. Ding. Congratulations to the host, you have signed into the Void Trade Fair and received 1 token, and 10 initial exchange points. Void Trade Fair. This is something new. Then, a piece of information came into Li Yun's mind. This Void Trade Fair was founded by an unknown powerful being in the starry sky. One can enter with the Void Trade Fair token. But there are only 18 tokens, and those who can obtain the tokens are all the most powerful in the myriad worlds, who can shatter galaxies with just their hands. The initial 10 exchange points were given by the unknown powerful being, and every token owner has one. In the Void Trade Fair, you can exchange your own resources for exchange points, and then use the exchange points to exchange for things suitable for you from other people, or you can exchange them from the item library. Whether it is a transaction or an exchange, a 10% fee will be charged, which is the organizer's responsibility for transportation. No matter how far the distance is, SF Express will deliver it on the same day. Let's go in and take a look. Li Yun immediately decided to go in and take a look. This Void Trade Fair has good confidentiality and is held only once a month, and today is the day the trade fair opens. An ancient token appeared in Li Yun's hand, and then a breath of breath was injected into it, and Li Yun's consciousness entered a new environment. Unknown starry sky. Li Yun appeared, wearing a purple gold crown, a purple gold 9-dragon robe, and a royal silk ribbon tied around his waist. He looked extremely majestic. Then he waved his hands and changed into a new outfit, a blue shirt, looking like a handsome young man. Then he began to look around. In front of him, there stood a 3-story palace out of thin air. It looked very ordinary, not even as good as Great Qian's golden palace. But Li Yun did not dare to underestimate it at all. The aura emanating from the palace was so strong that even the starry sky trembled, as if it could not bear it. Oh, there is a new fellow Taoist. A surprised voice sounded behind Li Yun. Li Yun turned his head and saw a burly man with thick eyebrows and big eyes, who looked like a country woodcutter and his aura could not be seen. But Li Yun was extremely sure that if it happened in reality, he would be reduced to ashes if the big man looked at him. Greetings, fellow Taoist. Li Yun returned the greeting neither servile nor arrogant. Haha, there have only been 2 new people coming to our trade fair in hundreds of thousands of years. Fellow Taoist is the 3rd one. Including you, there will be 16 people in the trade fair. With 2 more, it will be full. The big man seemed very enthusiastic and invited Li Yun to enter the palace. Li Yun was startled when he heard the big man's words and clicked his tongue secretly. Hundreds of thousands of years. That means this guy is at least hundreds of thousands of years old, or even older. How strong is he? Even if a pig has practiced for hundreds of thousands of years, it would be enough to shock the starry sky. The 2 then entered the palace together. The big man seemed very enthusiastic, without any of the coldness of a strong man, and explained the rules of the Void Trade Fair to Li Yun. There are only 2 rules. Don't look for someone to follow. Not to be tracked privately. There was once a token holder who used his identity to covet the resources of other token holders, forcibly explored the location, and angered the founder of the trade fair, so he crossed countless starry skies and forcibly killed this person. From then on, no one dared to violate these two rules. Li Yun was shocked when he heard this. How powerful must this founder be? The big man didn't stay for long and left when he saw someone he knew. Li Yun came to the trade fair's item warehouse alone to check. A curtain of light stood in the void. Li Yun took a look and smiled bitterly in his heart. Among the light curtains in front, none of them were ones he had heard of. Just looking at the exchange points at the back, the exchange points required for the first place were 999.999 billion. How could anyone afford that? There are 30 items on each page of the light curtain, a total of 30,000 pages. Li Yun couldn't help but want to rob it. How G rich is the founder of this void trade fair? Li Yun simulated his items, evaluated them, and then left with a wry smile. The 3 realm-breaking pills and 2 marrow-cleansing pills were rated as rubbish and will not be exchanged. The evaluation given by Julong Sword is, high-level Dao weapon, acceptable, and there is still room for improvement, 3 exchange points. The 9-dragon sword is the most valuable thing Li Yun can take out. From this, it can be seen how valuable the 10 exchange points given with the token are to him now. The trade fair was about to begin, and he planned to go take a look first, and then look around the trading library to see if there was anything suitable for Great Qian at the moment. As Li Yun stepped into another palace, there was a new movement at the entrance to the land of 100 nations. Hey, Elder Niu, even if Saintus is in this land of hundreds of countries, there is no need for you to go in person. Just give us a message. Besides, young Master Chu has already gone in. With the strength of his men, it will not be difficult to capture the defected Saintus. A humble voice came over. The status of the elders also varies greatly. Like the assessment elders, there are more than a dozen in Yin Yang sect, all of whom are just entering the void refining realm. Some of them are even promoted by pills. Their strength is completely unable to meet the standards of the void refining realm, but they are always stronger than those in the law manifestation realm, so they are given the position of elders. The status of these elders is very low, even lower than some of the best inner disciples. Second-generation elders like Chu Tiankuo have much higher status than them. But the law enforcement elders are different. There are 7 law enforcement elders in Yin Yang sect, the youngest of whom is at the void refining late stage. The strongest law enforcement elder has entered the empty void realm and is one of the decision makers of Yin Yang sect. The law enforcement elder who came this time was a void refining late stage, his last name was Niu Ma, and his nickname was Lanshan. Not only did he come to arrest the defecting Saintus, he also came to look after Chu Tiankuo. More importantly, he was also tasked with the sect's mission to investigate whether there were any changes in the land of the 100 kingdoms. According to the sect, the restrictions in the land of 100 nations seem to have loosened. The restrictions have fluctuated several times recently, but according to investigation, no problems were found. This time he wanted to investigate further to see if there was anyone who had sneaked into the void realm. If there was, he would crush him to death with one hand. Outside, Chu Tiankuo, who was imprisoned on the side, kept moving his eyes, trying to remind his elders. But how could Bai Chi's restriction be broken by just a law manifestation realm? 3 figures appeared. 1 person is in front, and 2 people follow closely behind. As the 3 entered the land of 100 nations, their faces changed drastically. Because a strong murderous intent was looming over them. Then a long spear came and killed him. Purple void shield, block it for me. The person who reacted the fastest at the moment raised a round shield. This was a low-level spirit weapon, his only spirit weapon. It had helped him ward off many disasters, and he usually treasured it very much. However, today this spirit weapon disappointed him. The moment it came into contact with the halberd, it shattered. The halberd knocked him away with one blow, and a mouthful of blood spurted out. The 2 assessment elders at the early stage of void refining behind them were even more miserable. They were knocked unconscious by the huge force before they could even react. Void refining completed. High-level spirit weapon. Elder Lanshan said in disbelief with an ugly expression. Before he could activate his spirit chi again, the killing intent surged in him again, enveloping him. He felt as if he was surrounded by sticky blood, feeling uncomfortable all over, and he couldn't even raise a trace of spirit chi. Afterwards, he only saw the shadow of a halberd and fainted. In the distance, a figure was flying towards them. After paying respect to Bai Qi, he took the 3 unconscious elders and Chu Tiankuo and headed towards Qiandu. Chapter 23. Trading Club Boss, Low-Level Time Secret Realm. In a simple palace, Li Yun walked to the door, stopped for a moment, then let out a light breath and walked slowly in. What I saw was a circular conference hall with an empty space in the middle and 18 chairs placed around it, most of which were empty. As soon as he entered, several pairs of eyes stared at him. Although these eyes did not carry any special momentum or pressure, Li Yun felt that he could not move at all at this moment, as if he was trapped in a swamp, or like drowning at the bottom of the sea while being entangled by countless water plants. These powerful people are like a flood or a beast to me at a glance, making me feel palpitations involuntarily. Li Yun circulated the emperor's scripture, his eyes glowed, his mind calmed down, and a sense of dominance and heroism belonging to an emperor arose spontaneously. At this moment, he is no longer a small minion in the void refining realm, but an emperor who looks down on all directions and is the only one who is supreme. Li Yun looked into everyone's eyes without any fear, and then walked straight to an empty seat and sat down. Everyone turned their gazes away at this point, waiting for the trade fair to begin. Afterwards, two more people came in. One was the big man who had chatted with Li Yun before. The one who came in with him was a bald man, who should be a Buddhist gate practitioner. At this moment, there were 8 people in the room including him. A young man with a sword on his back and messy hair took a sip from the gourd from time to time. Except for taking a look when Li Yun came in, he never opened his eyes. A woman in red, wearing revealing clothes, glanced at him from time to time and seemed to have some sexual interest in him. Li Yun didn't look at her much. After all, she was an old monster who knew how many thousands of years old she was. It was impossible for him to let her, an old cow, eat young grass. An old Taoist priest wearing Taoist robes, but the clothes were very tattered, like a beggar, and looked a little wretched. A burly man with a nose ring. Li Yun sensed a monster chi, which should not be human race. The last person was a withered old man. To Li Yun, he felt like a stone that was about to die of old age. It was a bit strange. Clang. The burly man stood up and looked around. It looks like there are only a few of us at this trade fair, so let me start. Then he waved his sleeves, and a shadow floated in the air. It is the phantom of a silver-white ship. The silver cloud ship has the 3rd layer ban. It can cross the void and cross the boundary sea. With the 2nd layer ban activated, its speed is comparable to that of the God Venerable realm. With the 3rd layer ban activated, it can withstand the full force of the God Venerable realm and exchange it for a drop of the God Venerable realm's true dragon blood. Li Yun found that although his eyes were moving around among everyone, his focus was on the woman. No one responded to him, only the woman giggled. Old bull, this silver cloud ship is good, but the resources required are not cheap, and who dares to cross the sea if it has not reached the venerable realm? This thing is a bit useless. It is not enough to exchange it for the essence of a venerable realm dragon. A divine king is more suitable. The burly man looked unhappy, but it was obvious that the essence and blood of the divine king realm was not enough for him to exchange. I don't have the true dragon blood from the venerable realm, but how about the Bayan blood from the venerable realm? The withered old man suddenly said. The burly man hesitated for a moment, but finally nodded. Although he was not satisfied, Bayan was still a little short of a true dragon, but he was still a little short of breaking through the venerable realm of God, and his bloodline restricted him a little. Of course, the most suitable person for him would be someone with Qilin bloodline, but the Qilin clan has not appeared in the world for millions of years. The Bayan from the venerable realm is barely enough. The most important thing is that this silver cloud ship is really useless. It's really powerful when it's at full firepower, but he really can't afford it. The deal was completed and the two signed the contract on the spot. At that time, a courier will naturally come to your door to pick up the goods and then deliver them to your door. Then the bald monk stood up. He did not take out anything, but said, I need a heavenly heart pill. If any fellow Taoist has it, please make a request. No one answered, but the woman laughed. Haha, Baldy, your old man is dying. The monk looked unhappy, but he didn't say much. This woman has a strong backer and acts recklessly. Although we are in a different star domain, I have heard of her reputation. She is quite unreasonable and it is better to ignore her if possible. Besides, he hadn't held out much hope in the first place. The heavenly heart pill was extremely rare, and even the strongest alchemist in their Buddha realm could hardly refine it. That's why he thought of trying his luck here. Next one, and the next one, some transactions were successful, and some transactions failed. Li Yun was digesting everything silently. The trip was worthwhile. Gained a lot of knowledge. When it was Li Yun's turn, he did not stand up but shook his head, indicating that he had nothing to trade. The last one is the young man with a sword on his back. He took a big gulp of the wine and spoke in a slightly hoarse voice. I need a method of resurrection from the dead. If anyone has it, I can agree to one condition. Any condition, even if it means my death or the destruction of a star domain. Everyone was silent. Is there any way to resurrection from the dead in this world? What's more, the person he was looking for had already died and had no chance of reincarnation, so how could there be a resurrection from the dead? This person comes to every trading meeting, but no one can succeed in the transaction. Even the founders behind the trade fair had no other choice. Fellow Taoist, he is gone, why bother coming here? Said the monk. The man with the sword on his back said nothing and disappeared. The trade fair here has ended and everyone is leaving one by one. See you next time, little brother. The big man greeted Li Yun before leaving. The woman in red looked at Li Yun and said teasingly, brother, I still have some things to deal with. Let's have a deeper discussion next time. You must come. Li Yun also left the venue, but did not leave. Instead, he returned to the inventory. Directly turn the page in the void to the last page. One style of minor Kunlun forbidden technique, which can trap the Dao realm, is sold for 1 exchange point. Supreme grade healing pill, below Saint realm, any injury, even if you only have 1 breath left, only 1 pill is needed, full of vigor and vitality, price is 5 exchange points. Supreme grade vermilion fruit. A mortal can take 1 bite and enter the Dao without damaging his foundation. The price is 8 exchange points. Low-level secret realm, sufficient spirit chi, available below Saint realm, no more than 20 people can enter at a time, can adjust the time flow rate 100 to 1, price 10 exchange points. Li Yun's eyes lit up. Time secret realm, good stuff. He can't afford to exchange things in the future, and it's not cost-effective to exchange things in the past. There is only this time, the secret realm. Isn't time what Great Qian lacks most now? With time flowing 100 times faster, why worry about not being able to cultivate strong people? Li Yun hurriedly took out his token and exchanged it for this item. Ding. Insufficient exchange points. Redeeming this item requires a handling fee of 1 exchange point. Li Yun's face froze. He had totally forgotten about this. But then the sound rang out again. Ding. Since this is your first time redeeming, the transaction fee will be waived. Ding. The transaction has been completed. The item will be delivered to the holder within 1 day. Please wait. Please rate this service, 10 points for satisfaction and 1 point for dissatisfaction. Li Yun gave it a 10 without hesitation. Who knows if there is a big guy controlling the situation from behind. If he is not satisfied with the fight I have done, he may hit me. My small body cannot bear it. Among all the big guys who have held the Void Trade Fair, I should be the weakest one. Chapter 24. Li Yun rewards the major forces in Eastern Wilderness based on their merits. Less than half a day after Li Yun came out of the trade fair, he saw a hole appearing in the void. A white bead emerged from the crack and flew directly into his hand. It's SF Express, please check it carefully. If you are satisfied with the service, please give us a 5-star rating. Another voice came from the crack. The voice was very hoarse and did not sound like it came from the throat. Li Yun's eyes focused, and he circulated the Emperor's Sutra, raising all the spirit chi in his body to look into the crack, but he did not see any human figure in the crack. That's right, I'm just a rubbish in the void refining realm. I'm afraid that even the ants others have seen are stronger than me. How can I discover an existence that can transcend space? Then he stopped thinking about those trivial things and began to look at the beads in his hand. Is this the low-level time secret realm? At the same time, a flash of enlightenment arose in my mind, and I understood clearly how to use the beads. This is also a movable time secret realm, and the beads are the entrance to the secret realm. As long as one injects a stream of spirit chi, one can enter it. If the owner enters, the bead will disappear into nothingness. If someone else enters, the bead will still be in the hands of the owner. Wherever the bead is, that is the exit of the secret realm. This is not a secret realm, it's a movable treasure house. It can hold people, objects, and can also be used to hide. If you ever meet an invincible opponent, just hide in the beads. Of course, if he was truly invincible, he would probably be found even if he escaped into nothingness. After all, this was only a low-level secret realm. Ding, ding, ding. There was a sound of beating gongs and drums. Li Yun looked up and smiled slightly. The expeditionary team is back. The second prince had arrived yesterday, but did not enter the city. He was waiting outside the city. They waited until Chen Qingzi and Li Tianba's triumphant troops returned before entering the city together. At this moment, Chen Qingzi, Li Tianba and Li Gande were moving forward in unison, with the latter two still 2 steps behind. Countless people from Gandu lined the streets to welcome them, and each of them, the ladies from wealthy families, put on heavy makeup and competed for beauty. Zhao Gao. The old slave is here. Draft and edict. In the first year of the Qianyan calendar, the generals pacified the storm, conquered Liangdu, and won a great victory, which enhanced the prestige of our country. I am very pleased. I will reward them according to their merits and hold a 3-day banquet for all the troops. Chen Qingzi first destroyed the Yun kingdom, then fought the Feng kingdom, and traveled thousands of miles to fight in Biliang. He was both wise and brave, and made great contributions. He was named Marshal Marquis, and the 400,000 troops of the former King of Ning and King of Zhao were under his command. Huo Qubing led 3,000 elite soldiers to the enemy's hinterland, disrupting the foundation of northern Liang. He was the first to destroy Liang, and was the bravest among the 3 armies, and was awarded the title of Champion Marquis. General Li Tianba, the Zhenbei general, attacked the Liang army and killed tens of thousands of enemies. He was given the title of Zhenbei Marquis and his original army remained unchanged. The second prince, Li Gande, conquered several cities of Feng Kingdom and made great contributions. He was named the King of Tang and the original territory of Feng Kingdom was designated as the King of Tang's fiefdom. Wei Wang Liju has endured humiliation for many years, and his heart is towards Great Qian. He has made outstanding contributions in the rebellion of the two kings. His original fiefdom will be revoked, and the original territory of Yun State will be designated as the fiefdom of Wei Wang. Yang Marquis Zhu Wang. The rest of the rewards should be listed in detail by the princes and generals, submitted to the Ministry of War for approval, and then discussed by the cabinet, and awarded one by one. I have only one request, that rewards be given according to merit, and that the more work, the more pay. Even if it means emptying my Great Qian treasury, I will give out rewards one by one. If the father dies, the son gets one, and if the son dies, the father gets one. If both the father and the son die, the family will be named martyrs, and their names will be recorded in the government annals, and will be passed down for generations. The many rewards from Emperor Yun pushed the atmosphere in Gandu to its peak. The people cheered and the restaurants and inns even set up banquets on the streets. The emperor is rewarding the three armies, and all the people of Great Qian are also entitled to a share. For 3 days, all food will be free. Various brothels also took this opportunity to launch promotional activities, offering discounts on purchases within 3 days. 20% off for 1-day consumption. 40% off for 2 days. 70% off for 3 days. My body may not be able to bear it if it lasts more than 3 days. In the Imperial Palace, Li Yun could clearly see a mist of purple air rising. This scene could be seen in all the cities within the Great Qian. This is the destiny of a country. Your Majesty, I have completed the mission. Ji Yuan carried 2 people in one hand and walked into the hall. Well, stand aside. Yes. Ji Yuan bowed and took a few steps back. Li Yun pointed his finger and the 4 of them woke up. Several people were confused at first, and then furious. Who are you? Do you know who we are? The 2 assessing elders struggled and cried. However, all their spirit chi had been sealed by Bai Chi. At this moment, they were no better than ordinary people and could not even break free from the hemp ropes on their bodies. Li Yun frowned and pointed with his finger. A bloody hole appeared on the chest of both men and they fainted. Stop making noise. I haven't let you speak yet. Elder Niyama was shocked. It's another virtual world. He woke up once in the middle of the process, but was knocked unconscious by Ji Yuan. However, with his keen eyesight, he could see that Ji Yuan was also in the void refining realm, but he was still in the early stages. However, his spiritual power was much stronger than the 2 pieces of trash around him. A master who has achieved perfection in void refining is guarding the passage, and then there is another virtual realm. He originally thought that these 2 virtual realms were the limit, but he didn't expect that there is another virtual realm hidden here. I couldn't even see through his cultivation level. Is this still the land of 100 countries? I ask, you answer, understand. Li Yun looked at the cows and horses. As for Chu Tiankuo next to him, he was ignored. His cultivation is superficial and it is obvious that he has acquired it through taking drugs. He is undoubtedly the 2nd generation. It would be useful to keep him, but it is unlikely that you can get anything out of him. I understand, I understand. Niu Ma nodded repeatedly. He who knows the times is a hero. After practicing for so many years, if I die just because of my stubbornness, it would be such a loss. This person will definitely ask questions about Yin Yang sect. Yin Yang sect is not his father, so there is no need to fight to the death. Even if it is his own old father, he has to be betrayed in order to survive. The purpose of coming to the land of 100 nations. First, I have to investigate the whereabouts of saints who defected from our sect. Second, I was asked by Elder Chu to take care of his son. Third, the sect said that the restrictions on the 100 kingdoms seemed to be loosened, so they asked me to investigate whether there is anyone who stole the void-shattering realm. Do you have any life tablets left in the sect? Li Yun asked. Yes, everyone who enters the void realm must leave a life plate in the sect to detect whether they will die. Some potential disciples or those with strong connections will also leave life plates. After saying that, he also looked at Chu Tiankuo next to him. It's obvious that he is the kind of person with strong connections. I'll tell you as much as I know about the Eastern Wilderness region, its major forces, and their strengths. Li Yun asked Du Gufeng this question, but her level was obviously not high enough, and her answer was vague and unclear. This time we caught a big fish, he should be a middle or high-level member of Yin Yang sect, he must know more. Niyama answered without hesitation. The Eastern Wilderness is vast, covering hundreds of millions of miles, divided into 36 states, with a total of 9 transcendent level forces, 1 sacred land, 6 major clans, and 2 dynasties. The 2 dynasties ruled from north to south, dividing the Eastern Wilderness into 2 parts. The Changning Empire in the south occupied 16 states, and the Shenfeng dynasty in the north occupied 18 states. There is a state in the south that is unknown and extremely chaotic. All the monsters from the Eastern Wilderness have gathered there. I even heard that there is a saint realm behind the scenes. There is also a state in the north that has been occupied by the monster race. I heard that there are saints there too, but I don't know if it's true or not. Both states are on the edge of the 2 dynasties, and I haven't heard what the 2 dynasties think of them. Both dynasties have Saint Realm masters in charge. With so many masters, they rarely provoke other transcendent level sects. 3 of the 6 major sects are in Changning, and 3 are in Shanfeng. They are all aloof. They are the Sword Sect, Vajra Temple, and Yama Palace in Changning, and the Shungshan Sect, Tianyan Valley, and Changkan Academy in the Divine Phoenix Dynasty. They are all guarded by Saint Realm masters. The Great Sacred Land is the Great Principal Heavenly Palace. It is rarely seen, but the other 8 major forces are very wary of it. It seems that there is an extraordinary existence inside that can intimidate the saints of all sects. Li Yun narrowed his eyes. It was a big map. Moreover, there are many forces with strong strength, so it is difficult to attack them. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 25. Yin Yang Sect Undercover, Preparing for War Against Qing Kingdom. The last question is about the organizational structure and strength of Yin Yang Sect. Niyama hesitated for a moment, but then faced up to his situation. The Yin Yang Sect is divided into 7 peaks. The 7 peak masters are all at the initial stage of empty void, and they have about 10 people at the void refining stage under them. The law enforcement department is independent of the 7 peaks. It has 7 law enforcement elders, 1 in the middle stage of empty void realm, 2 in the perfect stage of void refining, and 4 in the late stage of void refining. 10 elders in charge, together with the 7 peak masters, are in charge of the Yin Yang Sect. The chief elder is empty void late stage, 3 are empty void mid stage, and 6 are empty void early stage. The 18 elders who took the assessment are all in the early stages of void refining. Many of them are raised by pills, and their strength is not worth mentioning. There is also the sect master who has been in seclusion for many years. He had reached the state of empty void perfection before his seclusion. I don't know if he has reached the state of empty void now. There are also some supreme elders in the sect who have reached the state of Hexu realm, but I don't know their exact number or their strength. The disciples of the sect are divided into outer sect, inner sect and true disciples. Those who enter the sect are outer sect disciples. Those who pass the assessment within 1 year can become inner sect disciples. Those who break through the void-shattering realm before the age of 30 can become true disciples. Those who fail to break through must serve in lower-level forces. After breaking through the void-shattering realm, they can apply to become assessment elders or teach in various peaks. Now there are 4 true disciples in the sect, more than 1,000 inner disciples, and tens of thousands outer disciples. Niyama said a lot in one breath, without stopping for a moment, telling him everything he knew. After listening to this, Li Yun did not show any expression, but he sighed in his heart. The number of people in the Hexu realm is unknown, but there must be more than 1. It is even possible that there are immortals in the Dao realm. There are nearly 20 empty void realms and over 100 void refining realms, which is not much different from what Du Gufeng said. For Great Qian today, it is completely overwhelming strength. At present, the only Great Qian is Bai Qi, who has completed void refining and cultivated the way of killing. His comprehensive strength should be able to defeat empty void in the early stage, and it is also possible to win in the middle stage. However, the possibility of winning against late stage is not great. But it is too early to tell who will win or lose. If I can't even take down the small Yin Yang sect with my own plug-in, it would be a disgrace to the transmigrator. Do you want to die or live? Li Yun looked at the cattle and horses and asked lightly. Niu Ma was stunned and answered quickly. I want to live, I want to live. Relax your mind and don't resist, otherwise your soul will be destroyed and you won't have the chance to reincarnate. Li Yun said again. Niyama's face turned pale, as if he had thought of something. But now as a prisoner, my life and death are no longer in my own hands. It's better to be a slave than to die. Please come in. Niu Ma suppressed the panic in his heart and regained his composure. Li Yun nodded. What a talented person. Then he began to recite scriptures. Dead souls revolving. A powerful mental force spread out, covering the cattle and horses. Once again, divine. One of the 5 divine abilities obtained by Li Yun by signing in. For someone who is at a higher level than him, he can only succeed if the other person relaxes his mind and gives up resistance. As for those whose realm is lower than his, he can forcibly convert them. A law manifestation realm like Chu Tiankuo is just a thought away for Li Yun. What's even more terrifying about the divine deliverance technique is that it starts from the source. It doesn't control the spiritual sense, but makes you sincerely worship it. Before and after salvation, there is no other impact on the person, and self-consciousness is still the main factor. Master. The cattle and horses knelt down respectfully, extremely pious. Chu Tiankuo's eyes widened. He had never seen such evil magic. Li Yun turned his head. Master. Chu Tiankuo felt as if his soul was pricked by a needle, and he looked at Li Yun devoutly. Then, Li Yun woke up the 2 assessment elders and used the same trick again to convert them. You guys continue to go back to Yin Yang sect. You know what to say. In addition, your defected saintess has returned to Eastern Wilderness with a man by his side. You will take his portrait back later. Yin Yang sect will issue a wanted order for him. Li Yun ordered. His 5th brother is missing, but he has most likely gone to the Eastern Wilderness. He also covets his throne, so he must make trouble for him. Considering the demonic energy in his body, he must be no simple person and is not someone that a small yin-yang sect can deal with. So let's just serve some appetizers to both sides. Yes, master, we know what to do. Several people knelt down at the same time. From now on, you can just call me your majesty. Yes, Li Yun originally wanted to ask a few people to attract some elders from the void refining realm again, but then he thought, if even the void refining late stage can't solve the problem like cattle and horses, it would be a tragedy if the yin-yang sect sent a few empty void realm elders over. It's better to just let nature take its course, and wait until the empty void realm's combat power increases before dealing with the yin-yang sect. Zhao Gao, Zhan Chen Qingzi, Li Tianba, Li Ju, Li Qian, the two commanders of the Jinyue, and all the law manifestation realms that are idle in Qiandu. Yes, your majesty. A quarter of an hour later, more than 10 people gathered in the Imperial palace. Li Yun didn't say anything more. He threw his right hand and a light gate appeared. You will go in and practice for 10 days. After 10 days, gather your troops and attack Qing. Li Yun originally thought of letting them retreat for a longer period of time, but then he thought that everyone was prodigy, and blindly practicing would not be beneficial to their cultivation. Otherwise, all the practitioners in the world would go into seclusion to practice, and there would be no point in coming out. The ministers lined up to enter. 10 days in the secret realm is equivalent to about 3 years, which should be enough to level up a few times on average. Li Yun went in and felt it, and found that the concentration of spirit qi inside was more than 3 times higher than that of the land of 100 countries. He originally wanted to enter the secret realm to fix the system bug, but he didn't expect the system to not buy into his trick. Instead, it didn't give him a chance to sign in for the whole day, which made him give up the idea of entering the secret realm to practice. Zhao Gao, summon Li Linfu and Gongsun Li. Li Yun continued to give the order. Yes. Half a quarter of an hour later. My two beloved ministers, I intend to send troops to Qing in 10 days, conquer Qing in half a month, and unify the entire 100 kingdoms within half a year. But, I don't want a chaotic Great Qian. I want a unified, sound Great Qian where the people can live and work in peace and contentment. So I need a large number of talents, a large number of officials with both talent and virtue. Do you understand? Li Yun looked at the two top cabinet leaders and said solemnly. I understand, your humble servant. We will do our best to cultivate talents. Both of them suppressed the shock in their hearts and expressed their opinions. That's not enough. Half a year later, the land of 100 nations will be filled with Great Qian citizens. Great Qian will usher in an era of rapid development, with a population explosion. We must take into account the legal system, order, people's livelihood, etc. I'll give you some time. All the regulations of Great Qian must be redrafted. I understand. Well, you two have worked hard. I will promote more talents to share the burden with you. The Great Qian in the future will not be enough for just the two of you. Back off. After the two left, Li Yun looked into the distance. Ever since the 3 kingdoms were conquered by Great Qian, he felt that the land of the 100 kingdoms was a little different. It seemed that the spirit qi of heaven and earth was rising faster than before. This gave him some vague ideas. When he conquers 100 countries, I wonder if the spirit qi here can compare to that in the eastern wilderness. Also, it's time to visit the Imperial Mausoleum. There must be some secrets in it. Chapter 26. Poor Li Yuehua, Li Yun visits the Imperial Mausoleum. The 6th princess is back. Li Yun in the Imperial Palace sensed the breath of the 6th princess. But she seemed very angry now, and there was a guy with a sword on his back following her. Law manifestation 9th grade. Good aptitude, has the potential to grow into the Dao realm. His attainments in sword Dao are pretty good, but his sword skills are a little lacking. Li Yun remembered that Ji Yuan had reported the situation before. Lao Lu has an organization under him, which has trained a lot of people, including several in the law manifestation realm. It just seems like he was chasing a thief. Could he have failed? He didn't think much about it, nor did he have the intention to take the initiative to meet her. She had too many karmas on her body, so it would be better if she didn't bother him. After practicing the Emperor's scripture, Li Yun felt that his power had become somewhat overbearing, and his perception ability had also become much stronger. One could actually vaguely see several causal lines entangled on the 6th princess's head. The thickest one was extremely dazzling. That must be a big creature. Of course, Li Yun could only see the cause and effect line of the people of Great Qian. Apart from Great Qian, the few people from Yin-Yang sect couldn't see clearly themselves. As his own sister, the 6th princess is naturally also a citizen of Great Qian. Li Yuehua is very irritable now. She was originally planning to stay there to guard the body and keep an eye on the little thief. But the aura of the Era Void realm frightened her so much that she ran away quickly. She didn't dare to come out until Ji Yuan left, ready to continue squatting. But Yang Hu's Black Tiger army actually came, and at least tens of thousands of people were stationed there. She had no choice but to watch from a distance. After 2 days of waiting, no one was found. Her breath-suppressing talisman was about to expire. If she didn't return to Qiandu, she would be discovered by that old man. So I had to leave with hatred. When I returned to Qiandu, I was still very angry. She even wanted to go to the palace to seek help from her emperor brother. The current Great Qian is in his heyday, and has even destroyed the three kingdoms. He has many soldiers and generals under his command, and there are many law manifestation realms that she has seen. But she finally stopped thinking about it. Firstly, her brother, the emperor, was a bit mysterious. He had never left the palace since he ascended the throne. He only showed up in the court 2 days ago and had not shown up since then. She was a little worried that he would see something about her. If she and I had a conflict, I would definitely not be able to stay in Qiandu. If I leave Qiandu, I would definitely be discovered by that old guy, and then I would be in trouble. Secondly, it involves the chance of becoming a saint. Who can resist? If the emperor knows about it, won't he kill me to silence me? Now I haven't recovered my strength yet. It's dangerous, really dangerous. It's time, it's fate. Why is Li Yuehua so miserable? In the previous life, he suffered all kinds of hardships in the world and finally reached the top of the eastern wilderness. Before he had the chance to enjoy it, he died in battle and was reborn. I finally waited for the chance to become a saint in this life, but it was snatched away by someone else. It really is fate's trick. The next day, Li Yun first signed in. He was unlucky and only got a spirit rank martial arts book. He had no intention of practicing it as it was too low level. But it's still good to keep it for reward. Then he called Zhao Gao out of the palace. Originally, he opened the secret realm to allow Zhao Gao to enter together. But Zhao Gao refused, saying that he wanted to serve him, and Li Yun did not refuse. Time secret realm, you can enter at any time. He did not inform the emperor's mausoleum in advance this time, so he went on a secret visit. He had never been to the Imperial mausoleum, but there were records of it in the Qian Palace library. Although it is called an Imperial mausoleum, it is actually not small. It is said that many members of the Li family branches still live in it, and they have been living in it since Emperor Gaozu built the Imperial mausoleum. The entrance to the Imperial mausoleum is located 50 miles northwest of Qiandu. It covers an area of more than 20 square kilometers and a huge amount of manpower and material resources were used in its construction. Li Yun was wearing a blue shirt, and Zhao Gao also changed his clothes. The two of them looked like a nobleman and an old servant out for a trip. There are 20,000 guards stationed outside the Imperial mausoleum. Without the royal edict, no outsiders are allowed to enter. But it was not difficult for them to accommodate Li Yun and the other two. He quietly passed the army's defense and arrived at the entrance of the Imperial mausoleum. This place looks like a low mountain on the surface, but it is actually a hidden world. Formation. Li Yun raised his eyebrows and saw a clue. The entire Imperial mausoleum is actually shrouded in a formation, and is connected to the Great Qian national destiny. The stronger Great Qian is, the stronger the formation will be. With the current strength of the formation, even if it is the law manifestation realm, it is difficult to break it by force without a method to enter the formation or a token. When Great Qian unifies the land of 100 nations, this formation will probably be able to trap the Dao realm. Can't those guys from the Yin-Yang sect see it? Even the three kingdoms that he destroyed knew that there was an old man in seclusion in the Great Qian Emperor's mausoleum. Didn't the Yin-Yang sect come to investigate? Li Yun's mind moved, and a passage opened up in the large formation in front. Two people took steps forward, and the formation closed naturally. With the Great Qian national destiny as the source of the formation, how could it stop him, the Emperor of Great Qian? The inside and outside are completely two different worlds. What Li Yun saw was a huge central square with a 3-story altar-shaped building on it. This should be the location of the royal mausoleums of past dynasties. Extending further out, the square is wrapped in low buildings, with a market inside and mountains and water on the outside, making it look like a miniature version of Qiandu. On the top are white balls of light maintained by the power of formations, illuminating this huge imperial mausoleum as bright as day. Li Yun used his spiritual sense to scan the place and found that there were about 1,000 people here, most of whom were gathered in front of the square, and seemed to be holding some event. Most of them are from the acquired realm, but there are 2 from the law manifestation realm. Well, the old guy didn't mention it, but the little girl is actually a good candidate and she looks pretty good too. There are also several law manifestation realms in the mausoleum, and a law manifestation 9th grade is trying to reach the void refining realm. However, there was a place in the mausoleum that Li Yun could not detect, which made him very curious. You, who are you? A little boy discovered the 2 uninvited guests and showed curiosity in his eyes. We are here to worship our ancestors. Little guy, what are you doing? It's so noisy. Li Yun took 2 steps forward and touched the little boy's head. He had noticed this little boy a long time ago. He seemed to have never seen outsiders before. He had been looking at them since they came in and only dared to speak now. Moreover, he also felt a blood connection, that is, he was the offspring of the royal family. Big brother, today is the day for our martial arts competition to determine the rankings. The top 3 can go and touch the treasure. Big brother, you said you are here to worship the ancestors, so are you the emperor? The grandfathers all said that only the emperor outside can come to worship the ancestors, and no one else can come in. The little boy blinked his eyes. As far as he knew, he probably had no idea what an emperor was. Li Yun laughed. Yes, brother is the emperor. Take brother to see your martial arts competition. Also, what is the treasure hunt you mentioned? Well, big brother, I'll take you to see it. Let me tell you, my sister is definitely the first this time. Touching the treasure is. The little boy grabbed Li Yun's hand and walked forward, talking non-stop. Zhao Gao also hurriedly followed, sighing in his heart. This child is too honest. I'm afraid he will be sold and have to help others count money. Living in the Imperial Mausoleum means less trouble than in the world, but also less freedom. Suitable for old men, but not for young people and children. Chapter 27. Li Chinner, the mysterious little tower. The competition venue is on the square, not far from the gate of the mausoleum. There was also an old man at the gate of the mausoleum, watching with interest. At this moment, hundreds of people surrounded an open space in front of them. In the middle, 2 boys from Dao Palace 7th grade were fighting. The onlookers kept cheering, but in Li Yun's eyes, it was full of flaws and was just an empty shell. If he gets to the outside world, I'm afraid he won't be able to beat even a Dao Palace 3rd-4th grade young player. Li Yun turned his gaze to the girl in the front. The woman was dressed in white, had a serene face, fair skin, beautiful looks and a good temperament, comparable to the 6th son in his family. She is the good seedling that Li Yun mentioned, at the law manifestation 6th grade level. Far surpassing all the peers present. Moreover, judging from her bone age, she is only 16 years old, so she should have only been practicing for a few years. At the same time, she is also the sister that the little boy refers to. Sister, sister. The little boy jumped up and waved, attracting many people's attention. When they saw Li Yun and the other 2 outsiders, their expressions changed. Especially the old man guarding the gate, he jumped in front of Li Yun and looked alert. He clearly did not sense any aura, and there was no fluctuation in the formation, so how could an outsider enter the imperial tomb? Little stone, come here. The woman also appeared beside the old man and shouted to the little boy. The little boy said, "Oh," let go of Li Yun's hand, and ran to his sister. Sister, big brother is not a bad person, he is the emperor outside, and he is here to worship the ancestors. The little boy's words startled everyone present. Emperor? Are you kidding? He doesn't look like an emperor at all, but more like a rich second-generation young man. Besides, how could the emperor offer sacrifice to his ancestors without informing the emperor in advance? Wasn't it just a few days since the previous emperor's body was sent to the mausoleum? Already, the new emperor has time to make a secret visit to the imperial mausoleum. May I ask who you are and why you broke into the great Qian emperor's mausoleum? The old man said in a deep voice. He could see that the cultivation level of the person behind him was law manifestation 1st grade, but he couldn't see that for Li Yun. How dare you? Emperor Yun came here to pay homage to his ancestors, how can you dare to break into their tomb? Zhao Gao stepped forward and shouted. Li Yun glanced at him and Zhao Gao immediately took a step back. Then Li Yun moved and changed his clothes. Wearing a 9-dragon robe and a purple gold crown on his head, he exudes an indescribable pressure. That is the aura and majesty of the emperor, which makes it impossible to look directly at it. I have been on the throne for a long time. This time I came here to pay homage to my ancestors and to bring back the imperial seal. Li Yun's slightly majestic voice sounded in this world. Everyone looked at each other. It turns out he really is emperor monarch. Li Kaiyu, the 7th branch of the Li family, pays his respects to your majesty. The old man first bowed respectfully, then looked at the stunned young men behind him and shouted. Your majesty is here, but I haven't seen your majesty yet. He didn't think that the person in front of him was fake, the strong aura of the Qian kingdom's emperor was real. Of course, what's more important is that he couldn't see Li Yun's cultivation level. The emperor Great Qian is no simple person. Li Kanur, the 7th branch of the Li family, greets his majesty. Your majesty. Li Yun nodded. At the same time, he noticed that these people seemed to be talking about the 7th branch. Does the Li family have so many branches? So where are the other branches? Then he looked into the tomb again. What? Is it that my status is not high enough to allow the elders of the clan to come out and see me? Li Yun spoke softly, but to the ears of the old men in the mausoleum, it was like a thunderclap, causing their expressions to change drastically. They noticed the imperial aura the moment it appeared, but they were proud of their status and felt that they were the elders after all. Even when the former emperor came to pay homage to their ancestors, they did not even show their faces. Even if his son has profound cultivation and he cannot see through it, as a junior, he cannot put on airs in front of him. However, seniority is something that is dispensable to Li Yun. Since he is the emperor, all beings can only submit to him. In the fantasy world, the strong have always been the venerable. He can respect them and treat them with courtesy, but they cannot put themselves above him. Boom. The gate of the mausoleum opened and several old figures appeared. The four-law manifestation realm old men had stiff smiles on their faces and leaned forward slightly. Li Tian, the seventh branch of the Li family, greets His Majesty. Li Di, the seventh branch of the Li family, greets His Majesty. Li Liang, the seventh branch of the Li family, greets His Majesty. Li Xin, the seventh branch of the Li family, greets His Majesty. There was still one person who was at the critical moment of breakthrough, so Li Yun did not pursue him. Then he glanced at them and said calmly, "Go into the mausoleum, and take them with you." Li Yun pointed at Li Qin'er and Xiao Shito. A few people laughed bitterly and followed Li Yun's footsteps. Li Yun did not publicly worship his ancestors, nor did he use any complicated rituals. He simply lit a few incense sticks. "Your Majesty, the imperial seal is temporarily," an old man stepped forward and said. But before he could finish his words, he was interrupted by Li Yun. "I understand. He has used the power of luck in the jade seal to break through the realm without the emperor's permission. When he comes out of seclusion, he will be punished according to the laws of the Great Qian." Li Yun's tone was calm, but it made the faces of the elderly people look bitter. But they didn't dare say much. Too much talk leads to mistakes. They really did not think this matter through. The ancestor was really too old. He had lived for more than 600 years. If he had not been in this formation, he would have died long ago. Even so, it is already too late. Just at this moment, the power of luck in the jade seal surged, and actually gave birth to a luck flood dragon, which gave the ancestor hope of breaking through. The intention is to use the power of luck to break through the bottleneck and enter the realm of emptiness. It just so happened that with Great Qian's current national fortune, the formation of the Imperial Mausoleum could avoid the fluctuations of the broken void, and there was no need to worry about being known by the Yin-Yang sect. Li Yun discovered these as soon as he entered the Imperial Mausoleum. However, it is not easy for that old man to break through. His aptitude is too poor. It is at best first-rate aptitude. It is not easy for him to cultivate to this level. Take me to the third floor. I want to see what secrets this Imperial Mausoleum has. Could it be that this Imperial Mausoleum was built for that thing? Li Yun looked up, but could only see a fog. "Your Majesty, the third floor is a forbidden area, no one is allowed to enter." The four said at the same time. Li Yun looked at them with a smile, then looked at Li Qin'er. "You say it. What's on the third floor?" Li Qin'er's expression remained calm. She glanced at the elders and then replied respectfully, "Emperor Monarch, there is a small tower on the third floor. Every 6 months, 3 people can approach it. I have been in here 3 times over the years. Whenever I touch the small tower, it will eject treasures. I have also tried to refine the small tower, but I have never succeeded." Li Yun looked at the few people again, and this ordinary glance made them feel cold. "Your Majesty, we are not hiding anything, but that small tower is not stable. Over the years, except for Qin'er who gained opportunities from it, everyone else who touched it would be seriously injured. We are also afraid of hurting the dragon body of Emperor Monarch." Several people hurriedly explained. Li Qin'er nodded, that was indeed the case. She never lies. "Let's go, I'm getting more and more curious." Li Yun raised his foot and climbed up the stairs. On the second floor, Li Yun glanced at the room where the old man was in seclusion and shook his head slightly. "You don't need to come up, Li Qin'er, Xiao Shito, just follow me up." In front of the entrance to the third floor, Li Yun turned around and said something, then entered the third floor. This floor is somewhat empty, with only a small tower about 40 centimeters long suspended in the air. The small tower looks very ordinary, except for some strange patterns on it. Li Yun didn't feel anything extraordinary about it. Li Qin'er took a step forward and placed her hand on the tower. Suddenly, a faint light appeared, and a stream of light wrapped around an object flew out and landed in Li Qin'er's hands. Li Yun's eyes narrowed slightly. Space law treasure. But it doesn't look like it. The object that flew into Li Qin'er's hand was a zither, full of ancient charm. High-level Dao weapon. Li Yun was surprised. The aura emanating from this Qinshan was actually comparable to that of his own Nine-Dragon sword. However, the aura emitted by the Nine-Dragon sword is sharp, while this zither is relatively gentle. Li Qin'er looked at the piano in her hand, filled with joy. She had obtained 3 things from the tower before, and this was the 4th one. The first time was a Qindao technique, the second and third times were Qindao divine ability, and the 4th time was even a Qin as a gift. Her favorite is the piano. What she studied was the art of playing the Qin. Li Yun also went up to try it, but there was no reaction at all, and there was no serious injury as the old guy said. "Big brother, Xiaota said you are not the destined one." Little Stone suddenly said. Li Yun and Li Qin'er looked over at the same time. "Little Stone, can you hear the little tower talking?" Li Qin'er said in surprise. "Yes, sister. Xiaota said that he likes you and can give you something. But you can't use the good things. Those are the worst he has." Sister and big brother, can't you hear me? Xiao Shitu's eyes were full of confusion. Xiaoda was speaking so loudly, how could I not hear him? Li Yun thought for a moment, then took a step back. Little stone, put your hand on it. Little stone obediently took 2 steps forward and put his hand on it. Suddenly, a dazzling light illuminated the entire 3rd floor. The small tower also began to tremble, and the tower body began to expand. In an instant, it became more than 2 meters high and sucked the small stone in. Ah, little stone. Li Keener's face changed, she screamed, and was about to rescue her brother. Li Yun grabbed her. Don't worry. If I'm not mistaken, little stone is the destined owner of this tower. When he comes out, he should become the owner of this tower. At the same time, Li Yun also felt a little regretful. This little tower looks like a good thing. Even high-level Dao weapons are of the lowest level in its mouth. So what level is it exactly? It must be above saint level, or at least high saint level. It seems that I am not destined to be the protagonist. Under normal circumstances, wouldn't the little tower start to flatter me as soon as I show up, saying that I am of such and such bloodline, and then recognize me as their master and help me reach the top? Or you could give yourself a few levels and then pass them easily, so that the little tower would be amazed and willingly surrender. Chapter 28, Li's Secret, God. Let's go down first. It shouldn't come out for a while. Li Yun said, looking at Li Chinner who was still a little worried. Li Chinner hesitated for a moment, but finally nodded. Although she was worried, she knew there was nothing she could do but wait. 2nd floor. Seeing the 2 of them coming out, several old men hurried over to greet them. His Majesty has come out, huh? Where's Xiao Shito? Several people noticed that one person was missing. Uncles, Xiao Shito has entered the small tower. Maybe he wants to recognize him as his master. Li Chinner answered truthfully. Ah, what? The destined person of the divine tower is actually Little Stone. Hey, if I had known, I would have brought Little Stone here a few years ago. Several people were shocked and said with some regret. Everyone, can you please tell me what is going on with this Imperial mausoleum and this small tower? Li Yun's voice came over. There was silence for a while. Li Tian stood up and said, Your Majesty, it's not that we are hiding something, but we are not very clear about it. I guess only the ancestors know something about it. We only know that the construction of this Imperial mausoleum was because of this small tower. If your Majesty wants to know more, you can ask as much as you want after the ancestor breaks through. Li Yun raised his eyebrows and looked towards a room. He is almost dead. Well, I will give him a helping hand. Then he pointed his finger and a stream of light disappeared. At this moment, in the room, there was an even older man with a jade seal floating above his head and a flood dragon hovering above the seal. But the old man's breath had become very weak, and there was even a trace of blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. He tried to break through but failed, and his energy was running out, his life was in danger. At the critical moment, a stream of light flew in and fell into his hands. At the same time, a voice sounded in his ears. Swallow this pill and break through again. The voice was unfamiliar, but full of authority. The old man threw the pill into his mouth without hesitation, regardless of whether there was any problem with the pill. We are all going to die anyway, is there anything worse than death? As soon as the pill entered his mouth, it began to dissolve. A powerful medicinal force seeped into his limbs and bones, and countless impurities were expelled from his body. Every part of his body, including bones, blood, lungs, and internal organs, is evolving towards a higher level. In just a few moments, he felt as if he had a new body. He was originally trapped in a bottleneck swamp, but with one poke he broke through that barrier and entered a completely new territory. At this moment, his spirit seemed to be sublimated. Is this the virtual world? Lifespan has increased to 1000, which means there are hundreds of years to waste. The old man couldn't help but sing out loud. Boom. A white light flew out and was caught by Li Yun. Then the door of the room opened and the old man walked out. He was stunned when he saw the people outside, and was even more shocked when he saw Li Yun. However, he reacted quickly, walked quickly to Li Yun, bowed his head and said, Thank you for your help, Your Majesty. Oh, have you seen me? The old man replied, I went to see the emperor on the afternoon of his death. It was the day that Your Majesty ascended the throne. Little did he know that the old fellow was already filled with turmoil in his heart. At that time, he was very sure that the emperor monarch who was in a higher position had no cultivation at all, and he could vaguely sense that it was the cultivation of the acquired realm that had just been abolished. Only about 10 days have passed, and emperor monarch's cultivation level cannot be seen even if he has broken through the void refining stage. Moreover, it was emperor monarch who helped him break through the void shattering realm just now. Who can tell him what happened? Li Yun didn't know that I had seen him in Qiandu. After all, I hadn't yet linked to the system, and I was still a rookie who could be bullied by anyone. Let's not talk about these for now. I want to know about the Emperor's mausoleum and the small tower. Li Yun said lightly. Small tower. Has Your Majesty ever been there? The old man asked. Li Tian replied excitedly, Ancestor, little stone is a destined person, he just entered the tower. Really? The old man almost jumped 3 feet high, his face smiling like a chrysanthemum. Your Majesty, please come in and have a chat. I will tell you everything I know. Then the old man led Li Yun into the room. Kanur, come in. What are you guys doing here? Get out and go somewhere cooler. The old man scolded when he saw the others were about to follow in. Only Li Chinner was allowed to enter. The old man made 2 cups of tea himself. Your Majesty, do you know the pattern of the eastern wilderness? No, 1 sacred land, 6 sects, 2 dynasties. That's right, but we have to add 2 more, 1 clan and 1 family. Oh, the clan refers to the monster race in Yaozhou. The family refers to the people behind the scenes in Guzhou. The Li family. Li Yun asked thoughtfully. The old man nodded, feeling a little surprised. His Majesty is truly extremely intelligent, or rather, he knows a lot. Yes, the ruler of Ghost State is none other than our Li family. When the Li family was at its peak, the masters of the 7 veins were all Saint Realm, and even the head of the family and the masters of the 7 veins broke through to Saint King. Even the great principal sacred land had to give way. But all this changed thousands of years ago. That year, the head of the family returned from an outing and brought back a small tower. The aura emitted by the small tower alone was enough to scare the heads of Saint King realm families. But this also gave the patriarch an opportunity to break through the Saint Emperor realm, so he spent all his time contemplating the small tower. Among the 7 veins, the main vein and the other 7 veins have the closest relationship, and their bases are also together. That day, a strange phenomenon occurred in the sky. A small tower appeared and took in all the mountains, waters, and people within a 30-mile radius. Apart from the 2 branches of the Li family who were out for training, only 2 young men who happened to return in time survived and found the small tower. The head of the family and others entered the small tower, and together they passed a few words out. After that, there was no more news, and no one opened the small tower again. Those 2 people are your ancestors, your Majesty, and the great-grandfather emperor of Great Qian and the ancestors of the 7 veins here. Then, the 2 of them brought Xiaoda to the land of 100 nations. To be more precise, Xiaoda brought the 2 of them to the land of 100 nations. Then the Great Qian was built to conceal the truth, and then the Imperial Mausoleum was built where this small tower was located. Li Yun asked. The 2 ancestors' cultivation at that time should not have entered the Void Realm, how did they avoid the Yin-Yang sect and enter this place? The old man shook his head and said, the 2 ancestors did not take the entrance guarded by the Yin-Yang sect, but took the Shiwen Mountains. Going through the 100,000 mountains is the eastern wilderness monster state. The monster race masters are all in the deepest part, but the 2 ancestors were led by the small tower all the way and did not encounter any monster race, or the monster race did not dare to approach. Li Yun frowned. He didn't know that the 100,000 mountains actually led to the eastern wilderness. Unfortunately, the spirit chi here is very thin. Both of our ancestors died of old age in this foreign land before they crossed the threshold of the void realm. The old man sighed leisurely. If it weren't for Li Yun's help, he would have followed in the footsteps of his ancestor. This land of hundreds of countries is not simple. Li Yun said leisurely. Why did this mysterious little tower come to this place? It is a question worth further exploration. Li Yun felt that this small tower was even better than Saint Weapon, and might be a higher level existence. The ancestor said something before he died, and it seems to be related to this place. The old man said hesitantly. Oh, Li Yun was a little curious. The ancestor said that there is a rumor in the eastern wilderness that a divine realm was once born in the Four Extremities continent, which is a realm above the Saint realm. That divine realm seems to have come from the eastern wilderness. I guess that this small tower can make the head of the family in the Saint King realm powerless to resist. Maybe it is an existence above the Saint realm. It returns to the land of the 100 kingdoms. Maybe this place is related to that god. Chapter 29. The plan of national military deployment, sending troops to Qing Kingdom. Li Yun returned to Qiandu. He waited in the Imperial Mausoleum until dark, but Little Stone did not come out. He estimated that he would not be able to come out in a short time. It might take 1,000 to 800 years to recognize divine weapon as your master. However, when he left, he did dismantle the formation in the Imperial Mausoleum. With Elder Niyama acting as an insider in Yin-Yang sect and 2 assessment elders guarding the entrance, there would be no problem even if he turned the land of 100 nations upside down. As long as the aura of the virtual world is not exposed too frequently and there are cattle and horses to cover it up, there shouldn't be any problem. When Li Yun returned to the Imperial Palace, Bai Qi also returned. Li Yun also sent it to the secret realm of time. Plant a void refining and perhaps harvest an empty void realm 10 days later. During the 10 days, Li Yun was not idle, but took Zhao Gao for a walk around Qian State. When he came back, he had another idea. He wanted to establish a college and build one in every city across the country. He wants to mobilize all the people. At this time, the threshold for cultivation was still very high, and many good talents had no chance to cultivate at all. This wastes excellent talent. However, even if you think this way, it is still very difficult to realize it. The first is cultivation resources. It takes a considerable amount of resources to deploy martial arts to all the people. Even if the spirit chi is sufficient, medicinal materials, elixirs, weapons, skills, and martial arts are all unavailable. The second is teaching resources. There are only so many strong people in Qian country. We can't just expect some people on the third or fourth level of Dao Palace to teach. There must at least be a law manifestation realm in charge, otherwise some good seedlings will be wasted. The third is system and strength. The hero uses force to break the law, which is applicable everywhere. When all the people are mobilized to fight, the Imperial court will have enough power to deal with those who have evil intentions and refuse to obey discipline. Otherwise, you will be digging your own grave. However, it is easy to solve. If there are not enough resources for cultivation, then just steal them. With the resources for cultivation, there will naturally be more powerful people, and then there will also be teaching resources. If there are more strong people, they can naturally suppress the world. He has already handed over the specific matters to the cabinet, and naturally someone will improve them and put them into practice. Of course, I didn't miss signing in during the 10 days. I don't know if it's because I was under less pressure, but the items I drew out were either elixirs, weapons, or martial arts techniques, none of which were useful to me. The only useful thing was that he had spent a few years practicing and pushed his realm to the void refining late stage, just one step away from perfection. He felt that he didn't even need the assistance of the system for this step. Half a month later, if the Qing kingdom was destroyed and the country's fortune blessed him, he would be able to break through to the perfection realm. In the Imperial Palace, Time's secret realm opens again, and everyone's strength increases. Chen Qingzi and Ji Yuan entered the middle stage of void refining. The three Li have all entered the law manifestation 9th grade. After practicing for a while, they will probably be able to enter the void realm. The two deputy commanders of Jinyue were originally law manifestation 9th grade, and both had entered the void refining realm. Most of the other people in the law manifestation realm entered the 9th grade realm, and a few remained in the 7th grade and 8th grade. Even the many soldiers of Great Qian who have not yet entered the secret realm have made great progress. Having plundered the resources of the three kingdoms, Great Qian is now a landlord and can use the resources to its heart's content. Dozens of people from the Dao Palace realm have entered the law manifestation, and hundreds more have stayed in the Dao Palace 9th grade realm. Li Yun did not keep the elixirs and martial arts techniques he obtained by signing in, but gave them all away as rewards, and also created dozens of law manifestation realms. Bai Qi, on the other hand, was still at the perfection of void refining, and his immersion in the empty void realm disappointed Li Yun a little, but he was only a thin film away from the empty void realm. He knew the reason. Bai Qi practiced the way of killing. Perhaps a hardy battle or the slaughter of an empty void would easily allow one to break through the empty void realm. Many important officials of Great Qian gathered together, and several elders of the cabinet and the top leaders of the 6 ministries were also summoned by Li Yun. Everyone, the 10-day deadline has come. Starting today, we will mobilize our troops to go to war. God Marshal Marquis. Here. Chen Chenji stepped out. I order you to mobilize 400,000 soldiers to march from the east to the north, bypass the Great Snow Mountain, and quickly capture Dian State. Then, attack Qing State head-on from Dian State. I obey your order. Marquis of Zhenbei, King of Tang, King of Wei. I'm here. Li Ju and Li Qian stepped out. The Marquis of Zhenbei will lead an army of 600,000, with the King of Tang and the King of Wei as the vanguard. They will attack Qing Kingdom from the northwest through Qixia Valley. Shen Zuo and Shen Yu will accompany the army as guards. I obey your order. Era. I'm here. 3 people stepped out. Lead all the remaining law manifestation realms outside the Qian Kingdom's army to carry out a decapitation operation. I want Qing Kingdom to have no generals available. I obey your order. Cabinet, 6 ministries. Are all the food, equipment, and medicine needed for a million-strong army ready? Your Majesty, preparations are complete and have been distributed to the major military camps. Li Linfu stepped out. Okay. Gentlemen, if we take down Qing, we can destroy the other small countries with a wave of our hands, and the eastern part of the land of 100 countries will be in our hands. I have prepared tens of thousands of kilograms of fine wine for the millions of soldiers. When you return victorious, I will drink with you. In order to win a quick victory, this time, in addition to the Huaiyang Marquise's troops, Li Yundong used 80% of Great Qian's troops and all of his top masters. The remaining forces in the territory are extremely weak. Everyone left, but Bai Qi stayed. General Bai, do you have any complaints about not being allowed to lead the army? Li Yun looked at Bai Qi with a smile. I dare not. Bai Qi knelt on one knee and said respectfully. I will give you a task. Go to the eastern wilderness and make a name for yourself as a killing god. The cattle and horses of Yin Yang sect will assist you. But you must remember that the waters in the eastern wilderness are deep. Forget about void refining, even empty void and hexu are just small ants in the eyes of Dao realm. Your first priority is to protect yourself. Li Yun said seriously. Bai Qi suddenly became excited. I obey your order. As long as he can fight and there are enemies to kill, that's enough. If heaven had not given birth to me, Bai Qi, the world of killing would have been dark forever. Bai Qi also left, and Li Yun was the only one left in the imperial palace. This is the loneliness of the emperor. Fortunately, there are still sign-in rewards to look forward to. System, sign in. Ding. Signing in. Ding. Congratulations to the host, you have signed in for a death substitute. Death substitute. After the bound person suffers a fatal blow, all damage can be transferred. Yes, it's a good thing, just put it in the system space and let it collect dust. With the return of many generals of Great Qian, the entire Great Qian began to move. Chen Chenji was the fastest and headed straight for Feng State. His troops are all stationed in Feng Kingdom. To the northwest of Feng State is Dian State, which borders Qing State. Ji Yuan, along with 3 Void Realm Masters and more than 40 Law Manifestation Realm Masters, crossed the snow-capped mountains in the north of Yuanliang country to carry out the decapitation mission. The two sides sent out 1,000,000 troops, and the people of Great Qian burned incense and prayed for the troops to return safely. In the 6th Princess's mansion, Li Yuehua felt the huge commotion and felt even more irritated. It's been more than 10 days and there's still no news about that little thief. I'm so p*********** d off. If you don't come out soon, with the current concentration of spirit chi, my realm will not be able to be suppressed. She once again thought of going to the Imperial Palace. Because she is now very sure that there are virtual realms in the Imperial Palace, and quite a few of them. There was a breath that she felt could easily crush her current self to death. Brother Emperor must have a way to avoid yin-yang sex detection. Or there might be a secret realm in the Imperial Palace, a secret realm that can be opened at any time. The residence of Marquis Weiyang. Weiyang, who also felt the military actions of Great Qian. Your Majesty, I also want to achieve great things. Otherwise, after the Qing kingdom is destroyed, I will have to give up my throne to the young people. Marquis Weiyang howled in the palace. Although Li Yun rewarded him with a lot of elixirs and pushed his realm to law manifestation 9th grade, he was not satisfied with this. Otherwise, he would be gradually marginalized in this increasingly prosperous Great Qian. My lord, there is movement in the Shiwandishan area that you arranged to surround. A scout's report made the Marquis of Weiyang stand up suddenly. Ha ha ha, my chance to make a contribution has come. Zhu Wang laughed. He felt that this place must be extremely important. This is the place where His Majesty personally ordered the garrison, and he even sent his own son there to show his importance. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 30. The whole army attacks, Fang Xiang is captured. The Qing kingdom values martial arts, and unless one is a poor commoner, everyone knows some martial arts skills. Therefore, the soldiers of Qing state were very strong. The standing army exceeds 1 million, and the generals stationed in all directions are all law manifestation 9th grade. This shows how powerful the Qing kingdom was. If the void refining realm is not counted, the Qian kingdom's army that went out on this expedition would probably be much weaker. However, there is no morality when two armies fight. Strike when the time is right. Although the void refining realm cannot defeat an army of hundreds of thousands, it can influence the situation of a battle and defeat 10,000 with one person. All 3 armies have void refining realm officers in charge to ensure that nothing goes wrong. There are people like Huo Qubing who have already infiltrated the Qing kingdom, and they will not let Great Qian down. The kingdom of Qing has been on alert since it discovered the refugees from the kingdom of Liang 10 days ago. The watchtowers in various cities patrol and stand guard for 12 hours without rest, and the million-strong army is ready for battle at any time. After all, they had learned about Great Qian's brutality and swift combat from the refugees. They were even ready to take the initiative to attack, but before the full mobilization of the army was completed, the enemy arrived unexpectedly. The first enemy to appear was the 600,000-strong army of the 3 Li in the west. They broke through the 2 big cities with an unstoppable force before the battle report reached Chengdu. They didn't expect that an army of 600,000 would come directly upon them, so they hurriedly transferred troops from other places. However, 2 days later, a weak country in the east quietly showed up with an army of 400,000 and captured 3 cities in succession. Only then did the news reach Chengdu. This time they knew that the Qian kingdom was serious about this, so they went all in with 1,000,000 troops. Moreover, each time they would carry out a decapitation operation first, but some generals of law manifestation 9th grade would die inexplicably, so it was so easy for both sides to capture several cities in a row. After 2 battles, Qian kingdom completely made a name for itself in Qing kingdom. The people of Qing state are all in danger. There are 10,000 mountains to the west of Weiyang prefecture. Feng wanted to get out of the void, looked around, made sure there was no one squatting there, and then jumped out. There was a rumbling sound of collapse coming from the space behind him. This one-time secret realm fell into the void. Feng thought that he was in a very happy mood. Not only did he escape from that guy's clutches, he also broke through to the law manifestation 6th grade realm, and this place is not far from home. This time, victory is mine. The only regret is that Mu Lao has never woken up since the last time he possessed him. Feng Xiang roughly identified the direction and was about to take a step forward. Suddenly, a sense of danger came over me. He instinctively moved a step to the right, and several long arrows passed by him. Then, dense groups of black armored soldiers came out and surrounded the place. What the hell? Black Tiger Army. Friendly forces, I am also from Huayang Prefecture, please do not hurt our friendly forces by mistake. Feng Xiang shouted hurriedly. Although his strength has improved by leaps and bounds, it is still a question whether he can escape when facing so many Black Tiger troops. FK, you have no eyes. Are you doing this on purpose? You want to kill me so that you can have Nalan Shui all to yourself. Suddenly, Feng Xiang saw a familiar figure walking out. It was the young Marquis Zhu Wuxi of Huayang Prefecture. At the same time, she is also the mistress that Nalan Shui, who is engaged to him, has taken a fancy to. Zhu Wuxi rolled his eyes. He is very familiar with Feng Xiang. Feng Zhang's family was once a prominent family in Wangshan City, Huayang Prefecture, and the two of them grew up together until they were 8 years old. However, when Feng Xiang was 8 years old, something unexpected happened in his family. His parents were killed when they encountered a group of wild beasts that broke out of the Shiwanda Mountains while they were out. Feng Zhang's family has been declining since then, and his status in the family has plummeted. He ran away from home in anger and only returned some time ago. Then the Nalan family came to cancel the engagement that day and drove him out. Then she came to him, had a drink, beat him up, said she wanted to cancel the engagement, and then disappeared. This is where we'll be when we meet again. He also didn't expect that the person His Majesty asked them to guard was Feng Xiang. Could it be that Feng Xiang had offended His Majesty? That's really difficult. If it were the time of the previous emperor, as long as it was not treason, I could ask my father to come forward for any charge, and at least I could save my life. But the current emperor, well, how should I put it, it's not that I look down on his father, but his father's face means nothing to your majesty. Lao Feng, have you gotten into any trouble? Tell me in detail and I'll see if I can find a way to save your life. Zhu Wuxi said solemnly. Feng Xiang was stunned. Then he looked around and said in disbelief. Old Zhu, are you here to arrest me? That guy is so powerful that he can let your young master lead the Black Tiger Army to encircle and suppress me. How dare you be so rude? It's fine if you say it in front of me, but if His Majesty gets to know about it, you won't behead it even if you have 10 heads. Zhu Wuxi shouted. Feng Xiang was a little confused. What the hell is going on? How did it get involved with your majesty? And when he was being hunted, didn't he hear that the emperor had passed away and the new emperor had just ascended the throne and was still a puppet? Could it be that Ling Yi is a popular figure in front of the new emperor? Feng thought that he had been on the run for his life all those days and had passed through several kingdoms. He had no time to listen to these gossips. Moreover, the affairs of the Qian kingdom had not been reported at all at that time. When he came back, he went straight into the Shiwan Mountains. He did not enter the Shiwan Mountains from Huayang Prefecture at all. Unexpectedly, he accidentally ran back to his hometown. So he had no idea what was happening in Qian kingdom. Feng Xiang rolled his eyes, then moved closer to Zhu Wuxi and whispered. Old Zhu, let's talk in private. Is the current emperor very powerful? I am now at the law manifestation 6th grade, which is considered to be ranked high in our great Qian. If I can't do it, I will run. Let me tell you, I have been running for more than half a month, and I have a lot of experience in escaping. Law manifestation 6th grade, ranking high. You are dreaming. Now my great Qian law manifestation 9th grade is highly recommended, and there are more than 100 people in law manifestation realm. You tell me that you are ranked high. It is even said that there are several of my great Qian who have surpassed law manifestation realm. You tell me that you are ranked high. Under the wise and powerful leadership of your majesty, our great Qian destroyed the Yun kingdom in 2 days, the Feng kingdom in 3 days, and incorporated the Liang kingdom into our Qian kingdom's territory in 8 days. Now we have sent 1,000,000 troops to attack the Daqing kingdom. Tell me you have the strength to run away. Your majesty wants to unify the entire 100 kingdoms within half a year. Tell me, where are you going to run to by then? Are you going to hide in the mountains and keep company with wild beasts all day long? Feng Xiang opened his mouth so wide that he was afraid he could force an ostrich egg into it. Zhu Wuxi's words somewhat shocked his 3 views. Is this great Qian? Is it the great Qian who just left 20 days ago? Could it be that he had just entered a secret realm of time, and in reality 20 years had passed? But the look in Zhu Wuxi's eyes told him that everything was true. Mu Lao, wake up quickly, I'm going to die. If you don't wake up, I'm going to chop off this finger of mine and hand you over. FK. No matter how he shouted, there was no response. Feng Xiang felt a little depressed. He suddenly felt that he might not be the protagonist anymore and that he had received the wrong script. Old Zhu, just kidnap me and take me back to your mission. It will be considered a great achievement for you. Feng Xiang gave up resistance with a look of resignation. Zhu Wuxi sighed. Don't worry, I will plead for you and try to get lenient treatment. Zhu Wuxi comforted him, then he had Feng Xiang tied up and went into the city. I have to talk to my father first to see if that old man with a lot of bad intentions has any solution. If he can't figure out a solution, I won't take care of him in his old age. Chapter 31. Feng Xiang enters Qiandu, Bai Qi enters Eastern Wilderness. Get lost. Zhu Wuxi was kicked out by Zhu Wang. Damn it. This B*************** D is causing me trouble. Zhu Wang looked at Feng Xiang with an innocent face, feeling resentful in his heart. Damn, I thought my luck had turned and it was time to make a contribution, but who would have thought that this was not a contribution, but a bomb. Feng Zhang's father was also his old friend, and he firmly supported his leadership in Huayang Prefecture. When he was alive, a large part of the Black Tiger Army's military expenses was sponsored by his father as a friendly donation. He is so embarrassed. Nephew Feng, tell me how you offended His Majesty and I will help you figure it out. Zhu Wang looked at Feng Xiang helplessly. Feng Xiang blinked his big eyes. Uncle Zhu, I don't know either. I don't even know Your Majesty. But I remembered that the people chasing me didn't call him Your Majesty, but Her Royal Highness the Princess. Your Highness Princess. Zhu Wang was stunned. There are 2 princesses in Great Qian, and the 4th princess has not appeared for a year. That's the 6th princess. By the way, the 6th princess came to Wangshan City 10 days ago, and then His Majesty ordered me to stay there and wait for the opportunity. So, Feng Xiang didn't necessarily offend His Majesty, but Her Royal Highness the Princess. That being said, there is room for maneuver. There is only one person who has the final say in Great Qian, and that is Your Majesty. The princess could only stand aside. His Majesty asked me to guard the place and did not issue any order to kill him, so he probably did not want to kill anyone. As long as you don't kill anyone, it's fine. Suddenly there was a cry of howling. Old father, you have to help brother Feng. It's okay if you hit me, but brother Feng has given me a wife. Cough cough. Feng Xiang choked twice and looked at Zhu Wuxi with an unfriendly look. Get out of here, you are a disgrace to me. You look like a decent human being, but you are even more pretentious than me. I almost misled me because of you. Get away from me. I will take Feng Xiang to Qiandu myself. Zhu Wang kicked Zhu Wuxi who came in again and sent him out. Qian Do Sheng. A carrier bird landed at the princess's mansion. Princess, news has come from Huayang Prefecture that the little thief has appeared, but has been tied up by the Marquis of Huayang. He is on his way to Qiandu. Should we intercept him? The maid took the letter and came to Li Yuehua. Marquis Huayang. You can't stop him. He came to the capital in person. He should be going to see the emperor. Moreover, the emperor has given that guy a lot of good things recently. He has been pushed to the 9th grade of law manifestation. Even if you go there, you can't stop him. Li Yuehua was a little distressed, but then her eyes became determined. I have to go to the palace to see the emperor. I can't wait any longer. If I miss this opportunity, it will never come back again. I'll take a gamble. If it works, Feng Xiang Ju Tian, and then I'll die. That's all. Eastern Wilderness. Bai Qi had already walked out of the passage to the land of 100 nations, and then, under the respectful gazes of the 2 assessing elders, he took a step forward and entered the Eastern Wilderness. He appeared in a desert, which was the border between the Eastern Wilderness and the land of the 100 kingdoms. In fact, the land of 100 countries is more like a secret realm. And this channel is like a natural, permanently open space crack. There was a man waiting for him in front. When he saw him appear, he hurried over to meet him. General Bai, I have been waiting for you for a long time. Niu Ma said with a smile. He now has some psychological trauma towards Bai Qi, as this man's murderous aura is too strong. Niu Ma had seen strong men who practiced the way of killing, and generals who slaughtered millions of soldiers in a single battle, but no one could compare to the man in front of him in terms of murderous intent. Moreover, he has become stronger, and the pressure on him now is almost the same as that of the chief elder. You know, the chief elder in charge is empty void late stage. I need to kill someone to prove my truth. Tell me who is suitable. Bai Qi spoke concisely and said as little as possible. The cows and horses didn't mind. First of all, they are one of us. Secondly, the strong ones are all unique. Third, I can't beat him. I will first tell General Bai about the surrounding forces and strengths, and then give you a few candidates for your reference. Niu Ma said as he walked. We are now in the far west desert, in Qingzhou, which belongs to the Divine Phoenix dynasty. There are several forces in Qingzhou that need special attention. The first is the governor's mansion. It is the official boss of the Divine Phoenix dynasty and the Lord of Qingzhou. Every governor is at least at the Dao Dao realm. The second is the Demon Slayer Guards, which are also a force of the Divine Phoenix dynasty, but they are independent of the state governor's office. Every state in the Divine Phoenix dynasty has a branch of the guards, and they are even more difficult to offend than the state governor's office, because they are the swords of the sovereign clan, and they are extremely sharp. The third one is the four major families, Nangong, Beishuan, Examen, and Dongfang. These four major families all have people in the Dao realm. The fourth one is the Myriad Manifestations Pavilion. It's a chamber of commerce, but don't underestimate them. Myriad Manifestations Pavilions are spread across the 36 states of the Eastern Wilderness. It is said that there are Myriad Manifestations Pavilions in several other poles as well. Their strength is unfathomable. These are the few forces that have Dao realm masters in the open. There must be more in secret, but I don't know about that. The Yin-Yang sect I belong to is only a second-rate force in the Eastern Wilderness. There are more than 20 second-rate forces like this in the Eastern Wilderness. As for the candidates you need, I have selected 3. They are all capable and do not have deep backgrounds. The first one is in the iron-armored city 500 miles ahead. There is an old immortal in the initial stage of empty void inside. His name is Soul Boy. He is cruel and absorbs the souls of living people to cultivate. He deserves to be killed. The second one is a black mountain 2,000 miles to the north. There is a tree demon from the empty void on it, and he is the king of the mountain. The third one is the great law enforcement elder of my Yin-Yang sect, in the middle realm of empty void. He is a loner and eccentric, and doesn't get along with any of the 7 peaks. The elders in charge also don't like him. However, because of his strong strength and the protection of the sect master, he always sits in the position of the great law enforcement elder. However, the sect master is in seclusion now. Even if I kill him, the Yin-Yang sect is unlikely to retaliate. Besides, I may break through the void refining perfection in the next 2 days. If I kill him, I may have a chance to compete for the position of the law enforcement elder, and then I will have more authority. The cattle and horses looked at Bai Qi with sharp eyes. He hoped that Bai Qi would choose the third one, which would be beneficial to him. The most important thing is that he feels Bai Qi has the ability. Bai Qi didn't think for too long, and a hint of bloodthirsty murderous intent appeared in his eyes. Kill all 3. I will kill the first 2 first, and then you can find a way to lure out the law enforcement elder and kill him first. After saying that, Bai Qi stepped forward. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared without a trace. The cattle and horses were stunned for a moment, then hurried towards the sect gate. He knew that with Bai Qi's strength it would be easy to kill the first 2 and there was no way he would fail. I have to make some arrangements quickly and see how to trick the chief law enforcement elder into a remote place. Of course, I cannot let the sect know that I was the one who tricked the law enforcement elder out, otherwise I won't be able to withstand the investigation. It just so happens that Black Bird is in the sect. Let him take the blame. Then there will be one less competitor for the position of law enforcement elder. This matter still needs to be carefully planned. It's best to let Blackbird take the blame and rescue him, and then give him to his master. Chapter 32. Confused Li Qingxing, the 6th princess enters the palace to meet the emperor. Eastern Wilderness is a small town in Qingzhou. A man and a woman looked at the portrait on the city wall with grim expressions. 6 points similar to them. This is because they did a 4-point cover. But these concealments can deceive others, but not the void refining realm. They are none other than the 5th prince Li Qingxing who escaped to the Eastern Wilderness and the Shuiyu saintess of the Yin-Yang sect. How come Yin-Yang sect has my portrait? Did you leak the news? Li Qingxing looked at Shuiyu with a bad face. Shuiyu's face didn't look good either. She didn't want to go back to the Eastern Wilderness, but was forced to come here by this young man. Moreover, she had watched him break through from the 3rd level of law manifestation to the 9th level of law manifestation yesterday in just 20 days, which was totally against common sense. The hint of evil in him that was revealed at that moment made her tremble with fear. We have never left the compound since we entered the Eastern Wilderness. If the Yin-Yang sect had discovered us, they would have arrested us directly. It would not have been possible for them to just post a wanted poster with our portrait. I think it's possible that they went to the land of 100 countries. If they investigate thoroughly, they should be able to find out where I fled to, and then follow the clues to you. Shuiyu guessed. Li Qingxing clenched his fists. A tiny Yin-Yang sect dares to issue a wanted order for him. When he recovers 1% of his cultivation, he will be killed with a slap. However, my strength is a bit limited right now, so I need to find some help. He wondered if there were any remaining members of the demon sect that he had founded in the past. I will break through the void realm later, and then find a few subordinates to cause trouble for your Yin-Yang sect. Even though I cannot destroy your sect for the time being, I will kill your 2 elders first. Otherwise, I will kill your disciples and put an end to your descendants. Qian Do. Your Majesty, Marquis Huayang comes to see you, Zhao Gao reported. Zan. Soon, Marquis Huayang came in with a young man. Your Majesty, I, Zhu Wang, greet you. I would like to see your Majesty. Marquis Huayang and Fang Xiong bowed at the same time. No need to be so polite, Lord Zhu. This is the first time that we, the king and his subject, meet. Li Yun put down the book in his hand and said with a smile. Yes, Your Majesty, but I have admired Your Majesty for a long time and have long wanted to enter the palace to meet you. However, Your Majesty has not summoned me, and I am afraid of disturbing Your Majesty. Zhu Wang said in a very respectful tone. Fang Xiang, who was standing next to him, glanced at Li Yun and was a little shocked. When he noticed Li Yun's gaze looking at him, he was startled and quickly lowered his head. He felt that His Majesty was too young and his strength was unfathomable. With that glance just now, he felt as if he had been seen through. Old Mu, if you don't wake up, the master's inheritance will be broken. Fang Xiang kept calling out in his heart. At this time, Li Yun's voice came. Little guy, the remnant soul in your ring is damaged. It should be caused by the forceful attack some time ago. It can't be awakened. It will probably recover in 3 days. The sound exploded in Fang Zhang's ears like thunder. Fang Xiang felt a little panicked. What the hell is going on? Mu Lao said that in this land of hundreds of countries, it was impossible for anyone to see through his ring. Even if it is the Dao realm, one must be the top one in the Dao realm. This old idiot pretends to be mysterious and deceives me. It seems that this inheritance is not a big deal. Fang Xiang leaned forward respectfully and said with some fear. Your Majesty, I got this ring without knowing why, and was even hunted down by the 6th princess. This was not my original intention. It was this powerful man's inheritance that depended on me, and I couldn't get rid of it even if I wanted to. Your Majesty is very powerful, and I believe he can break the connection between me and the ring. I will give this inheritance to Great Qian at that time, which can also be regarded as an apology to the 6th princess. Li Yun waved his hand. Everyone has their own chance. This is your chance. No one else can snatch it away. Since he is unwilling to follow the 6th princess, he has no chance with the 6th princess. How can my Great Qian covet the chance of the common people? Fang Xiang, I am a resident of Huayang Prefecture of Great Qian. Would you like to join the Great Qian court? Ah. Fang Xiang was stunned. Bullshit. This is such a great opportunity. If you miss it, you will never get it again. Zhu Wang kicked him secretly. I am willing to do this. As a citizen of Great Qian, I should contribute to the development of Great Qian, Fang Xiang said firmly. Okay. Starting today, Great Qian will build the Tongtian Pavilion to recruit talents from all over the world. There will be 1 pavilion master and 2 deputy pavilion masters. You will be the deputy pavilion master. Not only Fang Xiang was confused, but even Zhu Wang was confused. Great Qian's national strength is so strong now, and its strength has risen by more than 1 level compared to before. How can a small law manifestation level 6 person become the second in command of a large department as soon as he joins? Your Majesty has built a cabinet of his own, which is naturally not a marginal department. It should be independent of the 6 ministries of the cabinet like the Jiniwei. In the future, when the Great Qian unifies hundreds of countries, how powerful will it be? But Li Yun didn't think so. If Fang Zhang's current strength was not a bit low, he would have wanted to directly appoint him as the pavilion master. He sensed it the moment Fang Xiang was brought to Qiandu by Marquis Huayang. It's true that his luck is somewhat surprising. When I saw him in person, I understood a little more. Amazing luck, mysterious inheritance, grandpa ring. This is definitely a template for the protagonist. If we recruit him now, he will become an important general in the future. Your Majesty, the 6th princess requests an audience. Zhao Gao walked in. Zan. A smile appeared on Li Yun's face. Fang Qing, it seems that my 6th sister is thinking about you very much. As soon as you entered the palace, she couldn't wait to follow you. Do you want me to bring you together? Fang Xiang smiled bitterly. Your Majesty, you are joking. I have never met the 6th princess before. Besides, the princess has no feelings for me. I am afraid she wants to skin me alive. Things are different now. Li Yun smiled meaningfully. Then he looked at the Huayang Marquis who was staring at him eagerly, threw a pill over, and opened the secret realm of time. Zhu Qing, take this pill, go in and practice for a while, and come out after you break through the void realm. Thank you, Your Majesty, for the reward. Zhu Wang smiled happily, then twisted his butt and entered the secret realm. Fang Xiang stared at the back of Marquis Huayang, feeling a little envious. It was obvious that His Majesty's move was not simple. He sensed a rich spirit qi and a mysterious aura of rules. He also wanted to go in and practice. But His Majesty didn't say it, and he had just entered the Great Qian and had not made any achievements, so how could such a good thing happen to him? Greetings, Your Majesty. The 6th princess twisted her slender waist, walked over lightly, and leaned over slightly. There is no need to be so polite, Imperial sister. Li Yun held up the paper with his right hand. I haven't seen my sister for a while. How come my sister has time to come to the palace? Li Yuehua looked up and exchanged glances with Li Yun, forcing a smile. She felt an inexplicable pressure as soon as she entered the palace. The first time I saw Li Yun, my heart skipped a beat. It was all speculation before, but now she is extremely sure that her royal brother has definitely broken through the void refining realm, and it is not even the first time he has entered the void refining realm. It seems even more terrifying than the aura of the empty void realm. How could I be reborn in such a hellish place after I died in battle? When I awakened at the age of 15, I originally thought that I was in a lower plane where people were enslaved. However, I discovered that, except for the second oldest, the older brothers and sisters were not simple people. The boss even placed a ban on himself before he awakened. As long as he was in Qiandu, his aura would not leak out. Otherwise, he would have been discovered by the saint from Eastern Wilderness. The second child doesn't seem to be special now, but who knows if he will suddenly become like the third child, as if he took drugs and suddenly become powerful. After the fourth brother awakened, he was only seen once and then disappeared. No one could enter the mansion, and no one knew whether he was still here. Lao Wu is insidious and likes to hide in the dark, but occasionally she can sense the aura emanating from the prince's mansion. The demonic energy is overwhelming and may be no worse than that in her previous life. In the end, I, a powerful Dao fusion realm master, ended up at the bottom of the list. Is this reasonable? Your Majesty, I'm here for this little thief. Li Yuehua calmed herself down and pointed at Feng Xiong standing aside. Feng wanted to follow his nose with his eyes and his heart with his nose, and he had not raised his head since the princess came in. Yuehua, Feng Xiong is now the deputy leader of Great Qian Tongtian Pavilion, so don't call me a little thief. Some things do require fate. Even if this thing is given to you, if you can't open it and get its recognition, it's useless. Moreover, I think the opportunity you need may not be this ring, but the person holding the ring. Feng Zhang's body trembled and he screamed in his heart. FK. Your Majesty, are you serious? Don't mess around with this lovebirds, I can't control this tiger woman. He also felt a dangerous aura from Li Yuehua. If they were to fight with real weapons, he would not be her match. It will probably take less than 3 minutes to surrender. Li Yuehua raised her head, looked at Li Yun, and then looked at Feng Xiong. Lost in thought. The emperor must have noticed something. Moreover, the opportunity that he had calculated was indeed in that secret realm. There is only this ring in the secret realm. The ring then took its own course and landed on Feng Xiong who was passing by, and recognized him as its master. This means that it is very likely that my chance will fall on Feng Xiong. However, based on his current 6th level of law manifestation, would he be able to help himself enter the Saint Realm in the future? Chapter 33. Death of Soul Boy, Bai Qi slays the demon and enters empty void. Both of them left the Imperial Palace. Each of them has their own thoughts. Li Yun did not restrict Feng Zhang's actions. He allowed him to travel to hundreds of other countries to recruit talents for his Tongtian Pavilion. People with great luck have their own gravity and can always attract some geniuses or special things. When he returns, he will be arranged to go to the Eastern Wilderness. There is a bigger stage waiting for him to perform. As for the 6th princess, just let it be. If she behaves honestly, she is still the 6th princess of Great Qian. She will be rewarded with any resources she needs in the future. Eastern Wilderness, Ironclad City. This is a small city with a population of only 1 million. However, there is a city lord in the city who is feared by several small cities around him. Soul Boy. Many years ago, he was already in the initial stage of empty void, and his methods were extremely cruel. Ordinary people did not dare to provoke him. It was not that there were no empty void people in the city, but they were far inferior to him. All the people in the city were subject to his tyranny. On this day, an uninvited guest came to the city. Holding a long spear, he appeared in the city lord's mansion. With one strike of the halberd, the gate of the city lord's mansion was shattered. Who dares to use force in the city lord's mansion? Do you know where this is? 2 figures flew out. One is in the early stage of void refining, and the other is in the middle stage of void refining. They are all running dogs of Soul Boy. Trash, you are not qualified to prove my way of being a general. Bai Qi said with disdain. With one thorn of his halberd, the 2 men were nailed to the courtyard wall before they could even resist, strung together. Several auras rose from the city, all of them were in the void refining realm. They were people from the city, but they were not under the command of the Soul Boy. He is full of murderous intent and cultivates the way of killing. He is not easy to deal with. Judging from his aura, he has not yet reached the empty void realm. I wonder if he can deal with the Soul Boy. It's not impossible. Killing a void refining mid-level person is like killing a chicken. This person is not a fool. Since he dares to cause trouble for Soul Boy, he should have some confidence. Several people in the void realm began to discuss, and they were inclined to believe that Bai Qi could kill the Soul Boy. You are so brave. You are at the void refining level and dare to challenge me. I will give you a chance. A sharp voice sounded from the mansion. A figure over 1 meter tall walked out from inside, but the aura on his body was very terrifying, and the spirit chi around him was somewhat condensed. You are neither human nor ghost. You are no match for me. If I kill you, I will find the next one. Bai Qi glanced at the man and said in a flat tone. The soul boy was furious. What he hated most was people talking about his physical features. Even the title of soul boy was a nickname given to him by others. You have successfully angered this venerable. Tell me how you want to die. The soul boy smiled grimly, and a black flag appeared in his hand, which was full of black air, and bursts of ghost howling could be heard faintly. This is the soul flag he refined using millions of living souls. It already has the power of a middle-level spirit weapon, which is why many in the virtual realms are afraid of him. Shut up. If you survive my 3 halberds, I will leave your body intact. Bai Qi leapt and disappeared on the spot. A long spear suddenly appeared in front of the soul boy. The soul boy was not afraid at all. He shook his soul flag and infinite black air escaped, wrapping him tightly, and the long spear could not penetrate at all. He. Are my millions of living souls still interesting? The laughter of the soul boy came from the black fog. Bai Qi's expression remained unchanged, his halberd trembled, and countless red rays of light overflowed, continuously devouring the black fog. At the same time, murderous intent came over the soul boy from top to bottom like a mountain pressing down on his head. How can there be such a strong murderous intent? A high-level spirit weapon. Impossible. You are only at the void refining realm, how can you have such a weapon? The terrified cry of the soul boy was heard from the black fog. Bai Qi sneered, pulled out his halberd, and a more powerful spiritual power wave appeared on his body. Sweep away the enemy. The long spear swept across and dispersed all the black fog in the sky. The figure of the soul boy appeared and was hit directly in the head by the spear. The head exploded like a watermelon. The rest of the body was directly squeezed into a bloody mist by the murderous intent in the air. Waste. Bai Qi left these 2 words and soared into the sky, looking for his next target to prove his faith. There was a brief silence after the iron-armored city, and then it exploded with a loud bang. The soul boy is dead. Damn it, God, if any hero does this good deed, I will erect a monument to him. Let's go to the city lord's mansion and take a look. Many people have already entered the city lord's mansion, and the city guards have all fled. You B*********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** My newborn son was taken away alive by someone and given to that B*************** D artifact refining. Let's go together. My new 36th concubine was also snatched away by them. She was only 16 years old. I didn't even have the chance to enjoy her. As soon as Bai Qi left, the city lord's mansion was trampled down by the angry people of Tia City. The city guards were caught and they wished they could eat their flesh and drink their blood. The eastern wilderness is vast, and even this state has hundreds of large cities. These remote small cities are beyond the control of even the imperial officials. Although these city lords were appointed by the governors, most of them were based on strength. If some powerful people killed a city lord, the news would not spread beyond thousands of miles, let alone the governor. Even if the news got through, this state is so big with a population of hundreds of millions and so many things to do that the governor can't handle all the major affairs, let alone care about the population of a million in this remote town. While Tia City was still in the atmosphere of a revolution, Bai Qi had already arrived at a black mountain 2,000 miles away. There is a monster in this mountain, named Black Mountain Monster. Although the eastern wilderness is ruled by the human race, there are also many monster races, the most numerous of which is the monster state, which is the sacred land of the monster race. But not all monsters are qualified to enter the monster state. Either you have a household registration, or you have a demon shield. Otherwise, if you enter the demon state, you will be inferior to the demons. So monster race is also distributed in other states. As long as you don't do anything too excessive, don't provoke those big forces, and aren't so unlucky as to meet a righteous and powerful person who likes to slay demons and eliminate evil, you can generally live a good life. Occasionally, I can secretly kill some human race to satisfy my hunger. Anyway, there are so many humans in the eastern wilderness, and millions of people die and are born every day, so no one will pick a fight with them because of outsiders. But today, the Black Mountain Demon was a little panicked. It has always been prudent and never goes into the city to kidnap people, nor does it provoke those big forces. Even the passing caravans who were unaware of the situation in this place did so quietly. But now the man standing in front of it, exuding murderous aura, made it afraid. It could feel that this person was 2 levels weaker than itself, but it inexplicably felt that it could not defeat him. If you ask why this is the case, it may be the sixth sense of being a tree. Yes, you are stronger than the soul boy. After killing you, this general should be able to enter the empty void realm. Bai Qi nodded secretly. Fellow Taoist, I don't want to take action. It's still not too late for you to leave now. The old voice of the Black Mountain Demon came out. Countless thick tree roots suddenly rose from the ground. It's better to strike first. Bai Qi's expression remained unchanged. Killing intent emerged, and the long spear swept through the army, breaking any tree roots it touched. The tree demon groaned in pain and shrank back. Then the second move begins again. The old tree began to shake, and countless leaves flew out like arrows, cutting through the void. Go. Bai Qi shouted, and the long spear was thrown out, passing through the leaves and stabbing towards the old monster's body. Red light appeared on Bai Qi's body, blocking all the arrows outside his body. The old monster groaned and the halberd pierced into its body. Then countless tentacles on the ground reappeared and retreated rapidly to the rear. Dozens of tree roots were almost smoking from being swung. Bai Qi just stood there motionless, not pursuing at all, with his halberd still stuck in the tree. Then, the red light was seen escaping from the halberd again, spreading directly along the halberd into the old monster's body, and then raging wildly inside it. In just a few moments, the old tree's body was riddled with holes, vitality spread from the tree, and the old roots on the ground lost their strength. With a loud bang, the old tree fell down. Bai Qi stood up, stretched out his right hand, and the halberd returned to his hand. After killing 2 empty voids in a row, he had already entered the empty void. Chapter 34. The 10th day to destroy Qing, the cattle and horses use stratagems to plan their future. The land of 100 nations. The Qianlong and Qing dynasties have already passed that period of intense fighting. On the first day, the 3 Li armies captured 2 cities. On the third day, Chen Chenji's army captured 3 cities of Qing state in succession. On the 5th day, Emperor Qing sent 1,000,000 reinforcements and forced the entire country to declare the law manifestation realm. On the 6th day, the Great Qian's beheading operation continued as usual. The Qing kingdom's law manifestation could not stop it. The Qing army was leaderless and suffered a crushing defeat. On the 7th day, Emperor Qing burned incense to worship his ancestors, asking them to come out of the mountains to fight the enemy. Later, 2 decayed figures flew into the sky and disappeared. On the 9th day, the armies of Li and Chen joined forces, and a 1,000,000-strong army was stationed at Yulin Pass, the last line of defense of the Qing kingdom, confronting the 1,000,000 remnant soldiers forcibly gathered by the Qing kingdom. However, this time, the Great Qian decapitation operation ended in failure for the first time. On the 10th day, a riot broke out in Qingdu. More than 2,000 Qian troops rose up, broke through the defense of 40,000 Imperial guards, broke into the Imperial palace, and confronted Emperor Qing. Huo Qubing held a spear in his hand and guarded the palace gate alone, preventing 40,000 Imperial guards from entering. More than 2,000 Qian troops captured royal family members including Emperor Qing and concubines in the harem, totaling 1,062 people. Countless people and soldiers of the Qing kingdom watched helplessly as their emperor and others were escorted by more than 2,000 people out of the city gate and headed towards Yulin Pass. On the 13th day, when the 1,000,000-strong army was fighting, more than 2,000 Qian troops, along with Emperor Qing and more than 1,000 others, arrived and ended the war. The entire Qing royal family fell into the hands of the enemy. Even if they won, Qing would no longer exist. It took 13 days for Qian kingdom to destroy Qing and win a great victory. On the same day, Great Qian's national fortune was on the rise, and Li Yun completed his void refining. On that day, Qiandu sent 31 law manifestation realm envoys to the eastern countries. If they surrendered, they could save their entire clan's lives, but if they refused, their country would be destroyed and their race would be exterminated. Qingzhou, the headquarters of Yin-Yang sect. Niu Ma walked out of the formation pavilion with a calm expression, and all the fluctuations in the formation of the 100 nations were wiped out by himself. Next, it's time to kill the chief law enforcement elder, otherwise General Bai won't be able to wait any longer. At this point, Niama has obviously reached the state of perfection in void refining, and his status in the law enforcement department has greatly increased. Apart from a void refining perfectionist who was not in charge, there was only one elder named Blackbird who was of equal status to himself. He has already planned that when this matter is over, he will be the boss of the law enforcement department. In an attic, a dark-skinned man was sitting cross-legged and practicing. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Come in. An inner sect disciple with a rat-like face walked in. Blackbird frowned. This is his nephew, a black guy with poor aptitude. He had to work very hard to get him promoted to the law manifestation realm and entered the inner gate. He is not keen on cultivation on weekdays, and just hangs out in the cities below all day. What's the matter? Blackbird said impatiently. Haigua chuckled, came over and whispered. Uncle, it's a happy event, a big happy event. Blackbird raised his eyebrows and slapped him with a big bag. Fart if you want to. Haigua was a little dazed for a moment, but he quickly recovered as he was used to it. Uncle, I found the trace of Saint Shuiyu. Isn't this a great thing? Haigua said with a wink. Blackbird stood up suddenly and asked, really? Of course it's true. I guarantee it with my life. Seeing Haigua's solemn oath, Hybrid also began to believe it. Although his nephew is usually unreliable, he shouldn't be fooled by such things. Blackbird raised his leg to go and report, but was stopped by Black Gua. Uncle, what are you doing? Of course I reported to the sect. If I wait any longer, the person will run away. Blackbird said in surprise. Haigua felt a little disappointed. Damn, his uncle's brain is not very flexible. Now that you have reported such a great contribution, what else do you have to do? Just for providing a piece of information, the sect will at most reward you with 2 pills and give you some encouragement, which is of no use. After Haigwa said this to Hybrid immediately calmed down. My nephew is right. I was still a little impulsive. Providing information is a small achievement, how can it be as great as capturing Saintis and bringing him to the sect personally? By then, I will go up the mountain openly and honestly, and even if the sect wants to claim credit from me, they won't be able to do so. After figuring this out, Blackbird's gaze towards his nephew softened. This kid has a pretty good brain. Although he hasn't practiced hard over the years, he has learned a lot of knowledge. Be nicer to this kid in the future, and don't treat him like a big A** hole anymore. You see, he's been smoking like a sly person. Come on, kid, take me there. I'll remember your great deed. When I become rich, I'll find a way to help you break through the void-shattering realm. Blackbird was in a good mood and made a big promise. My uncle, don't worry, you don't even ask about the specific situation. Saintis has experts around him, we may not be able to take him down. I have an idea. Haigwa continued. Oh, you say. Blackbird also felt that he was a little anxious. It's true that Niyama is a bit annoying lately. He had broken through to perfection in void refining and was now in a similar position to himself in the law enforcement department. I used to dislike him, and now after his breakthrough he hangs around in front of me every day, which is really annoying. After I have accomplished this feat, I will teach that kid a lesson, otherwise he won't be able to tell the difference between a big king and a small king. Haigwa's head kept shaking and his mouth didn't stop either. I saw Saintis in the Kilian Mountains. It was also a coincidence. I went to the wild with a few friends to find some excitement and accidentally saw Saintis with a middle-aged man. I don't know that man, but the aura he exudes is terrifying. Uncle, to be honest, I think you're still a little off. That man might be from the empty void realm. So, uncle, we have to find help. Blackbird frowned. To be honest, these law enforcement elders of Yin Yang sect are not very popular, except for Niu Ma, the guy who is good at getting along with everyone. It is somewhat difficult to ask him to find an external aid from empty void realm. Besides, even if he finds one, the credit will be taken away by others. Uncle, are you stupid? That's the empty void realm. Even if you're a weakling, it's impossible to defeat it in 1 or 2 moves. Can we take advantage of this opportunity to capture Saintis soon and report back to the sect? Besides, I have thought of a perfect helper, the law enforcement elder. That guy has a weird temper, and most importantly, he is extremely loyal to the sect. He is also the sect master's confidant, and he won't even look at the great merits. We invited him, and while he was fighting the empty void, we took Saintis, and the credit would still be ours, and everyone would be happy. Black Melon talked eloquently and Blackbird nodded from time to time. Wonderful. That old guy wouldn't want any credit even if you gave him it. Over the years, other elders and peak masters have been doing little to help in the capture of Saintis, and he is the only one who pays the most attention to it. As soon as there is news, I will rush there immediately. If he hadn't been out this time, he might have gone to the land of 100 countries in person. Let that be ********** D. Niyama show his face for once. You know what, he actually brought back some news about Saintis. Even the old guy praised him a few words. I heard that the great elder in charge also gave him some rewards, otherwise it would be impossible for him to break through to the same level as himself so quickly. Blackbird immediately set off for the residence of the Grand Law Enforcement Elder. Less than half a quarter of an hour. 2 figures cut through the sky and left the gate of Yin Yang sect. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 35. 7 Bells of Death. Blackbird is confused, cows and horses take the lead. Kilian Mountains. This is the largest mountain range in Qingzhou. There are many monster races hiding in it, as well as many advanced cave mansions, and even secret realms appear frequently. Therefore, you can often see young people coming here to gain experience or hunt for treasures. When Blackbird and the Great Elder of Law Enforcement arrived here, they attracted a lot of people's attention. On the outskirts of Qingzhou, empty void realm is considered a strong one. Generally, one can establish a sect in the void refining realm, but it is difficult for a small sect to have the empty void realm. In addition, the Yin-Yang sect has some reputation in Qingzhou, and is considered to be quite powerful among the second-rate forces in Qingzhou. Aren't those the 2 law enforcement elders from Yin-Yang sect? What are they doing here? Has someone from Yin-Yang sect committed a crime? Of course it is. Look at the murderous looks in the eyes of those 2 elders. Someone is probably going to be in trouble this time. Didn't the Yin-Yang sect want the traitor Saintis a few days ago? Do you think it's possible that he was their target? It's possible, but, old man, I discovered this magical herb. It's not good for you to sneak past it. Haha, don't you guys seem to be having a great time chatting? My hands are itching, they are itching. Get out of here right now, or I'll beat you up. This spiritual herb is worth at least a dozen spirit stones. If you touch it, it will depreciate. The two law enforcement elders ignored the discussions of the people below and ran all the way to their destination. The two stopped in front of a canyon. Then the two looked at each other. There were indeed two auras inside, one in the empty void realm, and one in the law manifestation 9th grade. This should be correct. Blackbird, when I fight with the empty void realm later, try to stay away from this place. You hide first, and after I leave, you capture Saintus. You must escort Saintus back to the sect safely. Do you understand? The law enforcement elder said solemnly. Saintus is very important to the leader, and nothing can go wrong with him, so he wants to lead him away to prevent him from being destroyed along with the leader. Blackbird was delighted. Isn't this exactly what he wants? Don't worry, Great Elder, we will complete the task. Blackbird promised. Then he restrained his breath and hid himself. The Grand Law Enforcement Elder walked in, and a moment later the sound of fighting was heard. Then he saw two figures flying out of the canyon one after another. The person in front was the Great Elder, and the one behind was wrapped in red mist, so he couldn't see clearly. Blackbird, you. The Elder's voice sounded a little anxious. But before he could finish his words, he was interrupted by a powerful blow from behind. Then the two of them disappeared from Blackbird's sight. Blackbird was a little puzzled. The old man had clearly told him to hide and wait before going in, so how did he expose himself? Moreover, the Great Elder didn't look like he was luring others out just now, but rather like he was being chased out by someone. Forget it, I don't want to think about it anymore. None of this matters, the result is the same as before. The Great Elder led the people away, and he could go in too. His chance to make a contribution had come. The black bird flashed and flew into the canyon. But as soon as he entered, he was confused. Where are the people? How come the person I just sensed is gone? Blackbird couldn't figure it out no matter how hard he tried. In fact, there was only one person in the canyon, and that was Baichi, who had been waiting there for a long time. The chief law enforcement elder discovered something was wrong as soon as he entered. A big man was waiting for him, and the murderous intent in the air made him panic. After just one blow, he realized that he was definitely no match for his opponent and quickly retreated. He did not forget to remind Blackbird, but before he could finish his words, he was interrupted by Baichi's attack. The fierce attacks were deadly. He didn't dare to say anything, or even relax for a moment, otherwise he would die on the spot. However, I have already reminded Blackbird. Although I didn't finish my words, as long as Blackbird is not a fool, he should know what I mean. He must be on his way back to the sect to get help. There is still hope for salvation. The chief law enforcement elder thought as he fled, and felt that he would not be in any danger. On the other side, Blackbird left the canyon in a daze. At this time, he could no longer sense the presence of any law enforcement elder. But he was not too worried. After all, the great elder had reached the middle stage of empty void, so it would not be a big problem. I'll go back to the sect and wait, and then ask him what happened when he comes back. The Blackbird returned to the sect in this way. He originally wanted to find his nephew to ask about the situation, but he didn't find him. So he didn't look for it anymore. Anyway, he did sense two auras there, so his nephew should not be lying. What Blackbird would never have thought was that what he was waiting for was not the great law enforcement elder, but imprisonment. Half an hour after he returned to Yin-Yang sect. Clang! A bell rang throughout the Yin-Yang sect. This is the death knell. The Blackbird in the attic stood up suddenly, with a bad feeling in his heart. Other people in the sect were also startled by the sound of the bell. Then, under everyone's attention, the bell rang 6 times again. The death knell rang 6 times, and the true disciple died. The death knell tolls 7 times, and the empty void realm falls. The death knell rang 8 times, and the leader fell. The death knell rang 9 times, and the supreme elder died. The sound rang out 7 times, indicating that an empty void realm had fallen in the sect. And within the sect, there are only so many empty void realms. The masters of each peak, the 10 chief elders and the grand elder of the law enforcement department. Who could have fallen silently? Beep beep beep. The elder in charge ordered. The 7 peak masters and 6 people from the law enforcement department enter the main hall to discuss matters. Not only Blackbird, but several other people in the law enforcement department received the news. The Blackbird suddenly panicked. Why did the sect summon the law enforcement department and specifically specify 6 people? Could it be that it was really as he thought, that it was the great elder who fell? Lord Blackbird, hurry up, the others are here. An urging voice came from outside. He now quickly stood up and walked towards the sect hall, but he couldn't calm down. When he stepped into the hall, he found that besides the sect leader's seat at the top, there was another empty seat, which was the seat of the chief law enforcement elder. There were several people standing in the hall. They were other law enforcement elders, and Niyama was standing in the front. Blackbird greets the chief elder and all the peak masters. Blackbird stepped forward and bowed, then stood shoulder to shoulder with Niyama. I believe everyone knows why we are gathered here this time. The chief elder Chu Dao spoke first. The death knell rang 7 times. All of us are here, except the great law enforcement elder. He must have died in the outside world, said the Lord of the Three Peaks. It's just that he was obviously not very enthusiastic, and the one who died was not one of his. The death of an empty void was a big deal for the sect, but it didn't matter to him personally. Yes, the Grand Law Enforcement Elder died under unknown circumstances. The sect must investigate this matter thoroughly. Was it the enemy of our sect who did this? We must investigate all of this. Chu Dao said in a deep voice. Then he looked at the Blackbird. Elder Blackbird, I heard that the Great Law Enforcement Elder went out with you. When you returned to the sect, the Great Law Enforcement Elder had an accident. Do you have anything to say about this? Blackbird shook his head and said. The Great Law Enforcement Elder did go out with me. I went with him to capture Saintus because of the news I got from him. Then he didn't explain the cause of the matter clearly. He only said that he thought the Grand Law Enforcement Elder was enough to capture the man. Is your nephew here? Asked the Chief Elder. I don't know either. I haven't seen him since I returned to the sect. HMPH. The Great Elder snorted coldly. Blackbird was a little puzzled. What the hell are you humming about? Did I offend you? A disciple came to report that your nephew left the sect at the same time as you did and also headed for the Kilian Mountains. Someone just found his body on the way. Do you have anything to say? Blackbird was shocked. How is that possible? There were witnesses in the Kilian Mountains who claimed to have heard the voice of the Great Law Enforcement Elder. His voice was full of anger, and he said 3 words. Do you know what he said? The Great Elder in charge said again. Blackbird hasn't reacted yet. How would he know what the Grand Law Enforcement Elder was shouting? But then he remembered and his face turned pale. The Law Enforcement Elder shouted. Blackbird, you. Master Elder, please listen to my explanation. No, explain. Blackbird exclaimed. Then he told the whole story in detail, including the conversation between Haigua and him. Although it is a bit embarrassing, it is better than losing your life. Haigua is dead, so there is no evidence. Niu Ma muttered softly. But all the officials present were from the empty void realm, so how could they not hear what he said? Blackbird's face turned even redder and he glared at the cows and horses. Niulinshan, what the hell are you talking about? I suspect you are the one behind this. Elder Blackbird, you can eat whatever you want but you can't say whatever you want. This elder has never left the sect from the beginning to the end, so how can you involve me? Niu Ma said indifferently. You. Blackbird gritted his teeth. That's enough. The chief elder shouted. Then he gave Blackbird a cold look. The Blackbird elder is suspected of murdering the law enforcement elder. He will be temporarily imprisoned in the law enforcement prison. The position of the law enforcement elder will be temporarily held by the Oxenhorse elder. Do you have any opinions? No objection. Everyone nodded. The law enforcement elders are all stones in the toilet, smelly and hard, only cows and horses are relatively flexible. As for the Blackbird, it is estimated that it will not be able to come out until the cause of death of the Grand Law Enforcement Elder is found out. However, will the Yin-Yang sect do its best to investigate? Not likely. First of all, the Law Enforcement Elder is in the middle stage of Empty Void, he is already dead. The only person in the sect who is currently in the Empty Void late stage is the Grand Elder. The sect master won't come out, and those old immortals won't come out as long as the sect survives. What the hell are you checking? Who the hell would risk their life to check? He's not his father either. The Blackbird's cultivation was restricted and it was dragged away. And Niu Ma also successfully took up the post of the Grand Law Enforcement Elder. The first thing he did was to go to jail to provoke his old rival. It is said that the Blackbird Elder who was imprisoned and took the blame was so angry that he fainted on the spot. Chapter 36. Saint Weapon, Spirit Stone Manufacturing Machine. The Land of 100 Nations. Qiandu is under expansion. With the fall of Qing Kingdom, envoys from the 31 countries also returned one by one. Except for 3 countries that refused to surrender and were then attacked by Chen Chenji's army and their royal families were exterminated, the rest all surrendered. The entire eastern region of the 100 Kingdoms was unified, and Great Qian's luck was unprecedentedly prosperous. It seems that all nations are coming to pay tribute. The originally spacious Qiandu suddenly seemed very crowded. Li Yun personally issued an order and the Ministry of Works took charge of designing a Qiandu that was 3 times larger. With the existing Qiandu as the center, it will expand in all directions. It is divided into the Imperial City, Inner City and Outer City. All the idle people around Qiandu and the soldiers from several large camps stationed there joined in the construction. It will be completed in less than 10 days. Moreover, after Great Qian unified the East, the spirit qi of the entire 100 Kingdoms skyrocketed several times, and countless people broke through the realm every day. Now Great Qian's overall strength has risen several levels compared to before. All the centurions and deputy centurions of the Imperial Guard have reached the Law Manifestation realm, and all the 1,000 and deputy 1,000 have reached the Law Manifestation 9th grade. The rest also broke through innate and reached Dao Palace realm. Great Qian's soldiers generally reach the acquired high realm or innate realm from the acquired realm. Officer-level officers are in the Dao Palace realm, and generals are in the Law Manifestation realm. After the three Li returned to the capital, they also broke through the void refining realm one after another. Li Linfu's second disciple Shang Ling also broke through the void refining realm. Huo Qubing even broke through to the middle stage of void refining in Qing Kingdom. Today, Great Qian has 1 empty void realm, 3 mid-stage void refining, 8 early-stage void refining, over 100 law manifestation 9th graders, and over 1,000 law manifestation realm. When Great Qian unifies the land of hundreds of countries, I am afraid that this strength will be raised to a higher level. Imperial Palace. Mr. Li, what do you think of my proposal? Li Yun said to Li Linfu below. Li Linfu frowned, a storm brewing in his mind. Your Majesty, I understand what you mean by the imperial examination, but right now, we have just taken over 30 countries, and the people of those countries have not fully accepted us. It is very difficult for us to amend the laws. I am afraid that even if the news of the imperial examination is passed on, there will not be much response. Li Yun laughed. It doesn't matter. Several princes have already led their armies to the battle. Now that Great Qian has many soldiers and generals, it will definitely be able to conquer the entire 100 kingdoms in less than half a year. That will be the beginning of a truly prosperous era, and that is when all this will begin. Not only will I establish the imperial examination system and build academies, I will also redraw the boundaries of the world. Everyone will have to apply for Great Qian household registration. I want all the people to be martial artists. In the future, even farmers in the Great Qian will be members of the law manifestation realm. I also want. Li Linfu at the back didn't hear clearly, and his eyes seemed a little blurry. The emperor in front of him, who was waving his arms and shouting, seemed to have brought him into the future, far in the future. Could Great Qian at that time really do as His Majesty said? If this is true, then Li Linfu's life has not been in vain. The late emperor, did you see it? Li Linfu left. The palace fell silent again. Ding. The number of sign-ins for the day has been refreshed. 1 big sign-in and 1 small sign-in. Do you want to sign in? Closing square bracket. Has it already been a month so soon? Li Yun whispered. Sign in. Ding. Congratulations to the host, you have signed in to obtain the intermediate saint weapon, the god-slaying sword. Ding. Congratulations to the host, you have signed into a spirit stone manufacturing machine. Slaying god sword. Use a common sword to slay gods, stain with the blood of gods, and advance to the intermediate level saint weapon. Spirit stone manufacturing machine. It can automatically absorb the energy of heaven and earth and continuously manufacture spirit stone. The specific manufacturing quantity is determined by the concentration of spirit chi. Hiss. Li Yun took a breath of cold air. Let's talk about the god-slaying sword first. Who the hell is so powerful that he can kill gods with an ordinary sword? Logically speaking, let alone a god, even if it was a person in the void realm, an ordinary sword would not be able to break the defense, so how could he be killed? Not to mention the gods. That is the realm beyond saint realm. Can an ordinary sword achieve that? Also, once it's stained with divine blood, it becomes a saint weapon. Damn, when I become a god, I'll smear blood on my knife every day. Sooner or later, won't it become a divine weapon? Another one is the spirit stone manufacturing machine. There is no such thing as spirit stone in the land of 100 nations, because the concentration of spirit chi in the land of 100 nations was too low before, and this thing could not be produced at all. In Eastern Wilderness, spirit stone is used as the universal currency. Spirit stone is mined from spirit stone mine. It can store spirit chi and be used to restore one's own vitality. Or some formations will use the spirit chi of the spirit stone to maintain or increase the spirit chi of heaven and earth. With this spirit stone manufacturing machine, it is just like a money printing machine. When the printing press is in my hands, am I still afraid of having no money? As his mind moved, a long knife appeared in his hand, with a pool of blood on the blade. But with the appearance of the knife, the space suddenly collapsed and cracks appeared, which scared Li Yun so much that he quickly put it away. The land of the 100 nations now seems unable to withstand this knife. No, that's not right. It should be said that it cannot withstand the blood on this knife. That is the blood of God. That is a realm that Li Yun cannot understand at present. Then he took out another item. Spirit stone making machine. It looks like a tripod with a diameter of about 1 meter. As soon as it appeared, countless spirit chi gathered and poured into the cauldron from its mouth, and then continuously sprayed out spirit stone from the exit of the cauldron. In just a short moment, thousands of spirit stones were ejected, but the spirit chi of the entire palace was completely absorbed. Li Yun paused and sighed. This thing is good, but it also consumes a lot of spirit chi. The spirit chi of the land of 100 nations cannot withstand such a forcing. I originally thought I could become rich and well off overnight, but it seems I still have a long way to go. I'll feed it well when I go to the Eastern Wilderness next time. Yan State. Feng Shang is running for his life. At this moment, he has reached the law manifestation ninth grade. Behind him, more than 20 people were at the law manifestation realm, and even the 3 people in the front were at the law manifestation ninth grade realm. Feng Xiang looked bitter. Was he born to escape? Damn, I was in Great Qian and I ran for my life for so long. Now that you have come to the state of Yan, you still want to run away. Ha 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 ha. An old laugh came from the ring. Mr. Mu, what are you laughing at? Think of a way. There are so many people chasing me. Feng Xiang roared in his heart. What are you afraid of? They don't want to do anything to you. It's just that their empress has taken a fancy to you and wants to make you her queen. Mu Lao was obviously in the mood to watch the fun. Bah, how can I marry into another country as the deputy leader of Tongtian Pavilion of Great Qian? This Yan kingdom will not exist for much longer. If I get stuck here, how can I return to Great Qian? How can I face His Majesty? Mu Lao also calmed down and asked, Boy, is it true that Emperor Qian could tell my existence at a glance as you said? Feng Xiang nodded and said seriously. My Great Qian saint is wise and powerful, mysterious and unpredictable. In 3 months at most, the Great Qian's army will fight here until we unify the land of 100 countries, and then go out of here, unify the eastern wilderness and even the 4 extremities, and even go out into the starry sky. Just as he paused, the people behind caught up again. Mu Lao didn't say anything else. With Fang Zhang's current strength, no one can defeat him unless he is in the Void Realm. At worst, you can run away. Chapter 37. Fang wants to persuade the Yan state to surrender and argues with the Yan state. Feng Xiang stopped. After running for a while, he suddenly didn't want to run anymore. Since Great Qian was destined to fight here and recapture it, why couldn't he take the lead? Conquer the state of Yan as your first gift for joining Great Qian. Mr. Fang, His Majesty has taken a liking to you. That's a great opportunity. Why would you run away? The team behind caught up, but only 3 people from Law Manifestation 9th grade caught up, the others fell behind. The middle-aged man in brocade clothes in the middle said with a wry smile. Feng Xiang showed no expression and said calmly, Take me to see your majesty. Mr. Fang has finally figured it out, that's good. Several people smiled. The current emperor has never recruited a son-in-law since he came to the throne, which makes them very anxious. It is unknown whether the royal family of Dian was cursed. Even if there are 3,000 beauties in the harem in each generation, only one offspring can be produced. Fortunately, every generation is very powerful, and all of them have cultivated to the law manifestation realm and can live for many years. But in this generation, a girl was born, and the previous emperor simply disappeared a few years ago, leaving behind a 16-year-old princess. Even the throne was not changed. Fortunately, the monarch and the people of Yan were all very loyal, and Yan had its first empress. In 2 years, the empress governed the country well, mainly without making any mistakes. In the eyes of these ministers, as long as there is no fault, it is right. These ministers were extremely tolerant of the empress. But there was one bad thing about this empress, she looked down on any man. There are many talented young men in Dian. The most talented one reached the law manifestation realm at the age of only 18. Although she is much inferior to the empress, she is still a tall man among short ones. The empress recently said that she wanted to leave this land of hundreds of countries, but even if she did, she would leave the royal descendants behind. Otherwise, Dian would be leaderless. Just at this moment, Feng Xiang appeared. He was the first person to be favored by the empress, and he was also a rare genius among millions. At such a young age, he has already reached the law manifestation 9th grade, which is far better than the genius from Dian. He is also a perfect match for the empress. So, the scene at the beginning happened. I didn't stay here because I figured it out. If I wanted to leave, your small Yan kingdom wouldn't be able to stop me. I stayed here to give your Yan state an opportunity and also to give you a way out. Feng Xiang walked past them with a calm face. He took the initiative to go towards the palace. After one stick of incense, he met the Queen of Yan again. Moreover, it happened in the Imperial court, with hundreds of officials standing beside each other and the empress overlooking. Feng Xiang showed no fear at all. Having seen the emperor of Great Qian, he felt that these were child's play. One look from Emperor Qian would probably scare half the people here to pee their pants. This is the difference in experience. Your name is Feng Xiang. The empress's voice came out. Well, a little immature, but still dignified. Feng Xiang raised his head, but the empress's body and face were blocked by the curtain and could not be seen clearly. Yes. Do you know why I summoned you? The empress asked again. I know, but I refuse. Feng Xiang straightened his back and said loudly. He, Feng Xiang, has never been a gigolo and it would never be possible in this life. How outrageous. Before the empress could say anything, an official came out and scolded her. Feng turned around and looked at him. May I ask, sir, what has I done to be so presumptuous? This man has a ruddy complexion and is over 50 years old. He seems to be a censor. Calling me, master, in front of His Majesty is insolent. To disobey His Majesty and to refuse His Majesty is the second insolence. The man cupped his hands toward the sky. Feng Xiong took 2 steps towards him and spoke loudly. I am not from the state of Yan, so why can't I call you, I? Since I am not from the state of Yan, why can't I refuse? I am the deputy leader of Great Qian Tongtian Pavilion. Who are you and how dare you act so presumptuously in front of me? The man was overwhelmed by Fang Zhang's momentum and unconsciously took 2 steps back. At the same time, Fang Zhang's words also aroused discussions among others. Great Qian, what country is that? Is there a country called Great Qian nearby? Great Qian seems to be a small country to the east of the land of hundreds of countries. 100 years ago, it was quite powerful. Now, it is extremely weak. Some people who are well versed in history remember the country of Great Qian and sneer at it. Among the hundreds of countries, only Qing and you are worthy of Yan's attention. The others are not worth mentioning and can be destroyed with a wave of the hand. I think that a wise bird chooses the right tree to roost in. With your qualifications, the weak Great Qian cannot keep you. Come to my Dian and leave a child for my Dian. In the future, you and I will go to the eastern wilderness together. The voice of the empress came down again. Feng Xiong sneered, looked around, and looked down upon everyone. Everyone, it's too late. While you are still immersed in the past, I, Great Qian, have already grasped the present and looked forward to the future. More than 10 days ago, my Great Qian army launched an expedition to Qing Kingdom. It took us 10 days to destroy Qing Kingdom, and then unified the 35 countries in the eastern part of the 100 kingdoms. Now we have sent out 1 million troops to unify the 100 kingdoms and march into the eastern wilderness. Your Yan state, under the iron cavalry of my Great Qian, has only one way out: surrender. Otherwise, your country will be destroyed and your clan will be exterminated. The choice of life or death is up to you. Fang Zhang's eloquent words shocked the entire Yan court, and even the empress stood up from the dragon throne. To be honest, what Fang Xiong said was a bit shocking. Fang Xiong did not hide the Great Qian's attack, because the Yan state would know it sooner or later. Although their information channels did not reach the Great Qian area, they did reach several neighboring countries. If Great Qian wanted to destroy Yan, he could not bypass the other countries, and Yan would still get the news. Fang Xiong, you dare to spread lies to confuse the people. Even if you don't want to marry into the Great Yan as the emperor's son-in-law, you don't have to make up such a big story. Are you trying to deceive the officials of the Yan state who have no judgment? Yes, not to mention Qing, there are more than 30 other countries with tens of millions of soldiers and armor. How can a small country like yours take them down? Yes, Qing is as powerful as Great Yan. Which country has the strength to conquer Qing within 10 days? Moreover, Qing has the power to protect the country. How dare you say that? Officials one after another stood up and reprimanded Fang Xiong. Fang wanted to laugh out loud. You are all just frogs in the well. I just thought that when I was 18, I had already reached the law manifestation 9th grade, but do you know how strong I am at Great Qian? I tell you, you can't even rank in the top 100. Is the power to protect the country that you are talking about the virtual realm? I tell you, the virtual realm that you are talking about can only be slaughtered in front of me, Great Qian. 2 people from Qing country have demonstrated it once. To be honest, I don't mind you. I hope you don't follow in their footsteps. Fang Zhang's words were actually a bit exaggerated. With his strength, he is considered one of the best in law manifestation 9th grade. Unless he is in the void realm, no one can easily claim victory against him. The entire court fell silent again. My lord, please quickly gather today's news and adjourn the court. The empress put an end to today's court dispute. All the officials dispersed. Mr. Fang, His Majesty is not summoning you to find a son-in-law. Please rest assured. An old eunuch finally conveyed a message to Fang Xiong. Chapter 38. Fang wants to ask the emperor for help, Yan wants to surrender. In the deep palace of Yan state, Fang Xiong was led in. The empress had been waiting here for a long time. At this time, the empress had changed into a new outfit. Fang Xiong took a look and his heart skipped a beat. Her long black hair reached her waist, and she was wearing a spotless purple dress. She had a tall and graceful figure. Fair skin, beautiful face and long legs. Among the many women Fang Xiong had met, only Li Yuehua, the 6th princess of Great Qian, could compete with her. Greetings to the Queen of Yan. Fang Xiong clasped his fists. He is not from the state of Yan, so he cannot perform the duties of a subject. Please come in, Mr. Fang. Xia Yanran sat at the table, brewed 2 cups of tea, and then dismissed everyone around her. Fang Xiong sat down confidently, picked up the teacup and drank it all in one gulp. Xia Yanran suddenly smiled. Mr. Fang, aren't you afraid that I will poison your tea? Fang Zhang's expression remained unchanged. What's the point of being afraid? With 2 Void Realm Masters by my side, even if there's no poison in the tea, what can I do? But I still want to advise the Empress. If you want to protect the people of Yan, don't do useless things. Otherwise, you will not be able to bear the wrath of Great Qian. Mr. Fang, you have misunderstood. The two ancestors did not come here to do anything to you. Sha Yanran smiled apologetically at first, and then said seriously, Mr. Fang, if what you said before is true, my great Yan will disband and help Great Qian, but I need to know your true strength. 100 countries are nothing. If my Yan country had this idea earlier, the land of 100 countries would have been the world of my great Yan. What we really need to face is the one above the 100 kingdoms. I believe that since you were able to destroy the Qing kingdom's void realm, you must have dealt with the Yin-Yang sect before. Fang Xiong frowned. He had not expected Yan's directness. Isn't it said that the three major powers are all supported by the Yin-Yang sect? Why does the Empress sound quite resentful? Since Great Qian can use the power of the virtual realm in the land of 100 countries, he naturally has ways to deal with the Yin-Yang sect. I think the Empress seems to be somewhat disapproving of the Yin-Yang sect. Fang Xiong asked doubtfully. Mr. Fang, let me explain it to you. Inside the palace, a man and a woman walked out. Both of them were quite old. Two ancestors. Sha Yanran stood up and saluted respectfully. Fang Xiong also stood up and bowed. Two seniors. After all, they are two people in the void realm, so they still need to be shown some respect. Mr. Fang, there's no need to be so polite. The old man said with a smile, and then both of them sat aside. The old man continued. In the land of 100 nations, there are hundreds of nations standing side by side. However, over thousands and tens of thousands of years, the hundreds of nations have changed one after another. However, my great Yan has been passed down from thousands of years ago to the present day. The Yin-Yang sect discovered this land of 100 nations only a few thousand years ago. To be honest, the spirit chi here is too thin, and they simply don't care about it. At that time, the people of Yin-Yang sect treated the people of 100 nations like pigs and dogs, humiliating and slaughtering them at will. At that time, corpses were everywhere, and blood was boiling. But after a few hundred years, maybe they got tired of it, maybe the environment in the 100 kingdoms was too bad, or maybe there were new slavery sites, so they rarely came to the 100 kingdoms. They just set up prohibitions in the 100 kingdoms to show their lofty status and did not allow anyone to break the prohibitions privately. Then 3 countries were selected as the decision makers, and at most 2 people in the void realm were allowed to exist in the 3 countries. These 3 countries are Yan, Qing, and Yu. Although it has been a long time, we in Dai'an will always remember this hatred. There was a bloodthirsty look in the old man's eyes. Fang Xiong was silent. He didn't expect this to be the case. Yes, it has been thousands of years. Even in the virtual realm, one can only live for 1,000 years. The people in the land of 100 nations have been replaced one after another. Who can remember the evil that the Yin-Yang sect committed in the land of 100 nations? So you want to know whether I, Great Qian, have the strength to deal with Yin-Yang sect? Fang Xiong understood something. Several people nodded. If you are strong enough, it is not a bad idea to rebel against Yin-Yang sect. But if they are not strong enough, they cannot gamble with the lives of tens of millions of people in Dai'an. Fang thought about it, then stood up, took out a token, threw it into the air, and bowed respectfully. Sutenkaku Fangxiong respectfully invites Emperor Monarch. This is a token made by Li Yun himself. It carries a trace of his soul power. It can be projected down for a short time and has the power to strike. Li Yun, who was far away in the Great Qian Imperial Palace, raised his eyebrows, and his mind sank into it. Fang Qing, why did you summon me? Inside the Yan Palace, a tall and majestic shadow descended, with the natural domineering aura of a superior, and the imperial aura was overwhelming with his every move. Sha Yanran and the 2 ancestors were shocked. How could such a thing be born in a land of hundreds of countries? The 2 void refining realm masters of the Sha family have lived for nearly 1,000 years. They have stayed in the early stage of the void refining realm for many years and are just one step away from entering the middle stage. However, facing this great Qian emperor, it felt like an unfathomable abyss, and no trace of his cultivation could be detected. Sha Yanran meets Emperor Qian. Sha Fa, Tang Xin has met Emperor Qian. All 3 of them saluted. The strong are respected. Even if Sha Yanran becomes the emperor of Yan, she has to lower her proud head. Li Yun nodded. At this time, Fang Xiong had already relayed the content of the conversation to Li Yun. Li Yun spoke in a domineering manner. I will conquer all the nations and destroy the Yin-Yang sect within a year. You can make your own decision. After saying that, Li Yun's shadow disappeared and the token was taken back by Fang Xiong. Everyone in the hall breathed a sigh of relief. The 2 ancestors of the Sha family broke out in cold sweats. Sha Fa wiped the sweat off his head, forced a smile, and said, Master Fang, Emperor Qian is truly powerful and unfathomable. Fang Xiong said proudly, of course, the Emperor of Great Qian is destined to dominate the eastern wilderness and the 4 extremities in the future. At this time, the guard came to report. Ziho asked for an audience. Ziho, dressed in armor, walked in and knelt on one knee. Your Majesty, the news has been found. Many countries in the east have received news that a large army is on the march in the east. More than 10 countries in the central region have already been conquered. At the current speed, the central region will be conquered in less than half a month. Even Dai Viet will probably find it difficult to resist. Your Majesty, should we gather the forces of the Western countries to aid the central region, or should we mobilize troops to resist the enemy? There was some anxiety on Zihu's face, because the enemy was too swift and fierce. I have never heard of a country being destroyed so quickly. Sha Yanran looked at the two ancestors. But the two ancestors did not give any opinions. Now she is the Emperor of Yan, and her decision is the decision of Yan. Sha Yanran gritted her teeth and said resolutely, Jihu, organize the army and prepare for war. I want to unify the entire western part of Baiguo before the Great Qian army arrives, and then prepare to surrender. Ah. Ziho was stunned. He hasn't heard of it. It would be fine if we surrendered, but we have to surrender with more than 30 countries that have unified the West. If this news gets out, not only the officials of Dai'an, but even the people of Dai'an will not agree with it. Just follow the order. I will inform all officials of this decision at tomorrow's court meeting, and also inform the people. I am doing this for the sake of the people of Dai'an, and even more for the sake of the many ancestors and people of my 100 kingdoms. Sha Yanran said without question. I obey your orders. When Ziho saw that the two national ancestors had no objection, he stood up and left. Your Majesty certainly has his own reasons for doing this. What's more, after learning about Great Qian's strength and the sporadic news that came, he really had no confidence in Dai'an. Dai'an could easily conquer many small countries in the west, but it had no chance of winning against Great Qian. Chapter 39. Bai Qi's Eastern Wilderness Declaration brings troubles to Yin-Yang sect. Eastern Wilderness, Qingzhou. Qingzhou has been quite lively recently. One was that the law enforcement elder of Yin-Yang sect was lured and killed by his own people, and was ridiculed by many sects. Second, a killing god named Bai Qi appeared in Qingzhou. His realm was not very high, just the initial stage of empty void, practicing the way of killing, and his strength was incomparably powerful. Normally, empty void beginners would lose the ability to take action under his murderous pressure. Normally, an empty void mid-level enemy wouldn't last more than a few moves in his hands. 3 days ago, he challenged the Grand Elder of Empty Void late stage of Qingzhou Quangfeng's sword sect and won the battle. Then he fought with the head of Empty Void Yuanman for 3 moves, was slightly defeated, and then left safely. More importantly, he is also an independent cultivator. It is said that the Demon Slayer guards have been paying attention to him and intend to recruit him. The demon slaying guards are not numerous in number, but are extremely powerful, and this is because they recruit only geniuses. All of them are geniuses who can fight across borders. And geniuses like Bai Qi who can jump 2 levels or even rank 3 or more favored by them. Yin-Yang sect. There are quite a lot of disciples in the sect, and many of the disciples who were traveling or training outside have returned. This is because the Yin-Yang sect seems to be in trouble recently. Many Yin-Yang sect disciples were assassinated for unknown reasons. Originally, the sect did not take this seriously, as they were just some inner and outer disciples, and were not very important to the sect. And the eastern wilderness is so large, so many people die every day. Life and death are determined by fate, wealth and honor are determined by God. But ever since a true disciple encountered an assassination attempt and managed to escape with his life, the sect could no longer sit still. There are only 4 true teachings in Yin-Yang sect. 3 are at the initial stage of void refining, and 1 is at the middle stage of void refining. They are all around 30 years old, but they are the sect's treasures. The sect is training them as the future empty void or even the Hexu realm. There are only 4 people in total, and now one of them almost died. How can this be tolerated? The chief elder in charge personally ordered a thorough investigation of the matter. The enemy is not very strong, not like the empty void realm that killed the grand law enforcement elder. According to the true disciple, there were 2 men in black, one in the early stage of void refining, and the other in the middle stage of void refining. There is still a faint demonic aura on his body. The Yin-Yang sect has fully demonstrated its tradition of bullying the weak and fearing the strong. He immediately ordered 5 law enforcement officers to track down and capture the murderer. As for the death of the previous law enforcement elder, there was no mention of investigating it. The oxen and horses originally thought that it was arranged by their master, and they wanted to do some lazy work just to pretend to be doing it. But in the end, this idea was rejected. Even if his master took action, he would not start with those disciples first. If you don't move, it's fine. But if you move, it must be surprising. These minions inside and outside the gates are not worthy enough for their masters to send people to assassinate them. So, he really investigated it with all his heart. It's true, after checking, he actually found the problem. The 2 assassins actually had some connection with the evil cult that caused trouble in the eastern wilderness back then. Maybe they are the remnants of the evil cult from back then. When talking about the demon cult, one person must be mentioned. Demon Venerable. The founder of the demon cult and also the only leader of the demon cult. A top warrior who has touched the saint realm and is said to have challenged the saint without dying. At that time, Demon Venerable was the most popular. The demon cult is also well known throughout the eastern wilderness, even overshadowing the 6 major sects. He acted recklessly and did many things that angered God and people in the eastern wilderness. He even set up an ambush and defeated the sword master of that generation. This also completely angered the sword sect. The strong men of the sword sect came out together, and a saint also descended. With 3 swords, the demon venerable was defeated and fell into the realm of depravity. But the demon venerable was indeed very powerful, and even so, he still escaped and never appeared again. There are rumors in the eastern wilderness that demon venerable is already dead. The sword clan also issued an order to exterminate the demons, stating that demon venerable must die, and that all the fellow Taoists in the world must work together to exterminate the remaining evildoers. All major forces did not miss the opportunity to strike a blow when the enemy was down. Moreover, the demon cult was indeed unpopular and many people had suffered persecution from it. From then on, the demon cult declined and dared not show its face in the eastern wilderness. Unexpectedly, traces of the remnants of the evil cult were found here again. However, Nyuma suppressed the news. After all, a lean camel is bigger than a horse. Even though everyone wanted to kill the demon cult, it is undeniable that he was very powerful during his heyday. There are many powerful people in the Tao realm. Even after that incident, there must be many who escaped and survived. If the sect knew about this, they would definitely not want to pursue the matter. They are just a few disciples, not to mention that the true disciples are still alive. It's not a life and death matter. Although I don't know why the remnants of the evil cult are targeting the Yin-Yang sect. But none of this matters. In order to increase the hatred between Yin-Yang sect and the demon sect, Nyuma spared no effort and worked without rest for 12 hours to find out the hiding places of these people. This has also led to his recent surge in reputation within the sect. Which disciple would not sincerely call me the great law enforcement elder when seeing me? How many elders can truly serve the sect's disciples? Even the many empty void bosses in the sect were much more polite to him. The chief elder also encouraged himself many times not to work too hard and gave him many spirit pills. The cattle and horses therefore swore an oath secretly. I will never let down the trust of the sect leaders and disciples. We must dig the person out even if we have to dig 3 feet deep. Hard work pays off. He finally found a clue and located the thief in a small town in Qingzhou. It is actually not an officially recognized town, but a gathering place for all kinds of people. Over time, it has become a small town that has attracted many people. There are more than 3,000 people in the town, and none of them are ordinary people. Their lowest level is law manifestation realm. Ordinary people can't survive in such a place. This town is not too far from Yin-Yang sect, only about 10,000 miles away. If the void refining realm moves at full speed, one day is enough to get there. When the Yin-Yang sect was looking for Saintis, they sent people to this town to investigate, but they didn't get any clues. Nyuma hurriedly reported the news and attracted attention. They immediately dispatched a chief elder from the middle realm of Empty Void and 4 peak masters from the initial realm of Empty Void, as well as 2 law enforcement elders and 3 ordinary elders from the 4 peaks who were in the initial stage of void refining. In order to capture a mid-stage void refining and an early-stage void refining, 2 empty voids and 5 void refinings were dispatched. This is quite a big deal. This is mainly because the town is somewhat special and there is an empty void realm inside it, so the empty void was sent there to keep things under control. The Lord of the 4th peak was the master of the injured true disciple. This time he took the initiative to volunteer to go and avenge his disciple. Nyuma did not go, and he lied that he had some insights and wanted to go into seclusion for a period of time. He knew that no matter what the result of the sect sending people there this time, it would not be good for the sect, especially for the people who went there. If we win the fight and capture or kill the murderer, we will definitely be hated by the cult, and these people will be punished later. If you lose the fight, that would be even more serious. There would be no need to settle the score later, you would just be killed on the spot. Chapter 40. Unification of 100 Kingdoms, Black Tortoise, and the 12 Zodiac Signs. It has been almost a month since the army set out to invade other territories. Good news keeps coming. Great Qian's rat communication method has gradually matured, and the number of members of the intelligence department has grown from more than 1,000 at the beginning to tens of thousands now. Even those countries in the land of 100 nations that have not yet been conquered have members of the intelligence department. As time goes by and Great Qian becomes stronger, the number of members will double. Regarding the expeditionary army, Chen Qingzi led an army of 300,000 and conquered the 16 kingdoms in succession, approaching the kingdom of Yu from the north. Li Tianba, Li Ju and Li Qian led an army of 400,000 to sweep across the 8 kingdoms and attack the kingdom of Yu from the west. Zhu Wang led 300,000 Black Tiger troops from south to north to conquer 12 countries and put pressure on the kingdom of Yu. The 3 armies with a total of 1 million people surrounded the country from 3 directions, vowing to take down the strongest dynasty in the central region, Yu, in a short period of time. Huo Qubing led an army of 300,000 and marched deep into the enemy's territory alone, along the edge of the Shiwen Mountains, and directly reached the western region of the Hundred Kingdoms. However, what Huo Qubing did not expect was that as soon as he arrived in the western region, news came from the intelligence department. The western countries have already submitted to Great Qian, so they can turn their troops around to encircle you from all sides. The capital of Yu State will be the final battlefield for Great Qian to unify the hundreds of states. August 11th, the first year of the Qianyan calendar. Less than 2 months after Emperor Yun ascended the throne, the capital of Yu was declared defeated under the siege of 4 armies, and the Hundred Kingdoms entered the era of the Great Qian unification. On August 15th, the army returned to the capital. Emperor Yun held a grand welcoming ceremony in Xinqiandu and scheduled September 1st to hold the first court meeting after Great Qian unified the hundreds of countries. All former emperors of the 100 nations and officials of first grade and above are required to participate. Imperial Palace. All the famous generals and ministers gathered together. Li Yun encouraged each of them, then put all the generals into the secret realm of time and started the final special training that would last for half a month. After this month, there will be a new court meeting. After the meeting, we will prepare to march into the eastern wilderness to explore the way. Of course, a large-scale military invasion of the eastern wilderness is certainly impossible. With the current military strength of Great Qian, it would not make much of a splash if placed in the eastern wilderness. Li Yun has planned everything. Only Li Linfu, Gongsun Li and Ding Yu were left in the palace. He is also the head of the civil servants of Great Qian today. My dear ministers, have you come up with any rules for the many issues I raised a few days ago? Li Yun looked at them and asked. Li Linfu looked around, then stood up, presented a booklet, and said respectfully. Your Majesty, the cabinet has discussed various matters for several days and has finalized the revisions. Please review them. Zhao Gao took the booklet. Li Yun flipped through it for a few seconds and nodded. These are some ideas that were proposed by themselves, and the cabinet will brainstorm and perfect them on its own. There is strength in numbers, and those in the cabinet are carefully selected by the Qian kingdom. Each of them is extremely smart and has different perspectives on issues. In the end, the unified system will be more perfect. Li Yun closed the book. Okay, you wait and prepare. I will announce all these things at the court meeting on September 1st. I want Great Qian to change every day. After a few people left, Li Yun was the only one left in the palace. Ding. The number of sign-ins for the day has been refreshed. 1 big sign-in and 1 small sign-in. Do you want to sign in? Closing square bracket. When the system prompt sounded, Li Yun realized that 2 months had passed. I didn't get anything particularly surprising from signing in for the entire month, except for a few high-level Dao weapons and some elixir techniques. Li Yun guessed that it might be the system that was behind this. When your enemies are strong and the pressure is high, give them some good things. When you can sweep across 100 countries, sign in for some junk every day. However, his cultivation level went straight into the initial stage of empty void as Yudu was conquered, and he even reached the peak of the initial stage of empty void in 1 step. The fortune of the Qian kingdom has skyrocketed, and the luck flood dragon on the imperial seal has evolved into the golden dragon of luck, which is always hovering. The spirit chi of the 100 nations also reached its peak at this time. Li Yun estimated that the current spirit chi concentration in the land of 100 nations was probably no worse than that in the eastern wilderness. Sign in. Li Yun muttered to himself. Ding. Congratulations to the host, you have signed into the guardian beast of the country Black Tortoise, and have completed the journey. You can reach a higher level within the influence of the Qian kingdom. Ding. Congratulations to the host, you have signed up for the Zodiac faction card. Zodiac faction cards, 12 people in total, 1 person at full stage of Hexu, 3 people at early stage of Hexu, 4 people at full stage of Empty Void, and 4 people at late stage of Empty Void. Li Yun's eyes lit up. System, I just wronged you. What Great Qian lacks now is peak combat power. Even a person in Hexu realm can be easily defeated by Great Qian. I have always dreamed of signing something to put the place in the spotlight, and now it's here. With this guardian beast, Great Qian can be said to have a Dao-level strongman to keep the place in check. There are not many worries anymore. Moreover, the lowest level of the 12 zodiac animals is Empty Void late stage, which is enough to crush the Yin-Yang sect. Of course, this is under the premise that there are no hidden Dao realm experts in Yin-Yang sect. Then, a palm-sized black tortoise emerged from the void, with a dragon head, a turtle back, and a snake tail. A pair of sleepy eyes stared at Li Yun with a hint of curiosity. Then he yawned and disappeared into the palace. Li Yun could sense that Black Tortoise was still inside the palace, and it seemed that he was lying in the pond in the Imperial garden. But that's okay. I don't have any use for him, I just need him to keep the place under control in my hometown. It doesn't require a lot of resources to support. The best of both worlds. Then the space fluctuated again. The rat, the ox, the tiger, the rabbit, the dragon, the snake, the horse, the goat, the monkey, the rooster, the dog, and the pig pay their respects to your majesty. 12 people appeared at the same time and knelt on one knee. 7 boys and 5 girls. Stand up. Li Yun showed a smile in his eyes. You have come at the right time. I will build the pavilion of life and death today. You will enter the pavilion of life and death and each of you will form a palace. Everyone should prepare on their own. I want the life and death pavilion to become the sword in the dark of Great Qian. When the sword is out, life and death will be decided. We obey your order. The 12 people answered at the same time. Let's go to the eastern wilderness and make the name of the life and death pavilion known first. I hope that when my army enters the eastern wilderness, the life and death pavilion can become His Majesty Yama's #1 killer force. Li Yun waved his hand. All 12 of them are proficient in assassination, so it would be most appropriate for them to form an organization similar to that of killers. Yama Palace is one of the 6 major sects, and with a saint in charge, it is not easy to be on par with it in a short period of time. However, all the 12 zodiac signs are extremely talented. If they go to the eastern wilderness to hone their skills, their strength will surely improve by leaps and bounds, and it will not be a problem for them to develop the pavilion of life and death. Qingzhou, East and West Town. It is surrounded by 3 canyons and has only one entrance on the east side. This place was originally the habitat of some bandits and villains, but over time it developed into a small town and had a certain reputation in the surrounding thousands of miles away, even surpassing some small towns. Because there are no rules here, the biggest fist is the rule. Likewise, there is opportunity here. Because there were so many people from all walks of life gathered there, many strange things appeared, many of which were stolen goods from robbery or murder. These things are difficult to sell in big cities and can easily lead to trouble. But in this small town, people never ask where things come from, as long as the price is high enough. Therefore, this is a very good place to sell stolen goods, and many people who think they have good taste come here to pick up bargains. A group of 7 people came from afar and entered the town. Although these people did not show much aura, anyone with a discerning eye could tell that they were all people who had been in high positions for a long time. All the merchants, peddlers or permanent residents who come to Dongzi town are shrewd people who have been working in the society for many years, and they can be recognized at a glance. These people were exactly the elders from Yin Yang sect who came to seek revenge. They originally wanted to come with great fanfare, but before leaving, Elder Niyama, who was preparing to go into seclusion, suggested that they keep a low profile, otherwise it would be difficult to deal with if they scared the thieves away. The 2 elders of Empty Void Realm thought about it and agreed. At the same time, he praised Elder Niyama highly. He did not disgrace the position of the Grand Law Enforcement Elder and he truly cared about the sect. But Niyama was thinking that they had finally found such a good opportunity. If they alerted the enemy, or if neither side had a chance to fight, how could they intensify the conflict? That would be a waste of my unremitting efforts over this period of time. He, Niyama, is the most loyal minister of Yin Yang sect. At this moment, in a house in Dongzi town, a man and a woman are playing chess in the pavilion. There were 3 other people standing nearby. If someone from Dongzi town saw them, they would definitely be able to recognize them. One of them was the mayor of Dongzi town, Go Dongzi. This town is named after him. Because he is in the middle stage of Empty Void, he is the undisputed bully in this east-west town. The 2 people next to them are also permanent residents of Dongzi town, one is Void Refining Perfection, and the other is Void Refining Late Stage. However, at this moment, the 3 of them were waiting on the side with extreme respect. The man picked up a white piece and placed it on the chessboard, then said with a smile. Ms. Shuiyu, you lose. The 2 were none other than the 5th Prince Li Qingxing and Saintess Shuiyu, who came out of the land of 100 kingdoms and were wanted by the Yin Yang sect. Miss Shuiyu, if your mind is not in a state of peace, how can you enter void refining? Li Qingxing said again. Shuiyu rolled her eyes. Do you think that everyone is like you and that it is so easy to break through? As soon as you break through law manifestation 9th grade, you can enter the void realm in a short period of time. And you can also find several subordinates from the void realm, one of whom is from the empty void realm. He was also called Young Master. Little did he know that Li Qingxing was also feeling somewhat fortunate now. I originally thought that the demon cult would not have any members active in this remote Qingzhou. After all, the elite forces of the demon cult in my previous life were all in the top few states. It may also be because the demon cult was suppressed too severely and had no room to survive in those states, so he was able to find a few members in Qingzhou. It's just that he doesn't think highly of his strength. Not to mention the realm of Dao, he hasn't even reached the realm of Hexu. Back then, when he was at his peak, the demon cult had many powerful warriors. There are several people in Dao Fusion realm, and there are even more in Dao Peeping realm. Empty Void realm could at best be an elder of a branch of his cult. It's still a weaker branch. But no matter how small a fly is, it is still meat, so he went to find it. He knew that his identity as Demon Venerable would not be useful anymore, so he forged an identity as the young master of a demon cult. With his demonic energy and familiarity with the demon cult, no one could see the flaw, and no one would question him. He was also a man who would never let go of a grudge, so he immediately sent people to deal with the Yin-Yang sect. But he didn't know what was wrong with the elders. They all stayed indoors, making it impossible for him to find an opportunity. He had no choice but to target those disciples. After finally catching a true disciple, he let him escape accidentally. I heard that the Yin-Yang sect recently dispatched a large number of people to search for them. He decided to hide for a while and then give Yin-Yang sect a big blow. Thank you for watching. Continue exploring the fascinating world of Chinese novels with us. Hit that subscribe button on Chinese Novel Audiobook to stay updated with our latest stories, and never miss out on a great listen.